Have you been injured on the road? Talk to Arnold Thomas and Becker. They have over 50 years of personal injury experience and offer no win, no fee. If you're entitled to compensation, Arnold Thomas and Becker will help secure the best outcome. Call 1300 333 300.
Live from the Kia Oval in London, it's Australia versus India in Test Cricket's Grand Final.
Over the wicket at him, he's bowled him! It's the taken! What a mighty hit!
That is Test cricket at its finest.
For McCafe, celebrating 30 years of coffee fit for an Aussie, the 2023 World Test Championship Final on SEN Cricket.
Good morning and welcome back to SEN Test Cricket, live from the Kia Oval for McCafe, celebrating 30 years of coffee fit for an Aussie. When a colleague of mine wrote a piece defending 5-day Test cricket a couple of years ago, he reflected on the majesty of overnight. How when stumps are called and there's more than 16 hours until the resumption, it allows us all to dream a little, or a lot, as the case might be for India, when they start again today at 3 for 164 with a target of 444 looking down at them from the scoreboard. Overnight helped inform what makes our form of the game unique. When something big is in the offing, however unlikely, there's a special energy between the close of play and the resumption. And so it was at 6 p.m. yesterday. As Virat Kohli departed the sun-kissed turf, he blew a kiss of his own to his wife, Anushka. It's through her, as he's explained many times, that he draws inspiration, strength and belief. And the way he made it to 44 after India lost 2 for 1 from nowhere following the swirling controversy of the Cam Green catch was nothing short of sublime. As far as the former Indian captain is concerned, we've seen this one before. As a standard bearer for Test cricket above all else, he knows what it would mean to bat all day and smash a 20-year record for the highest successful fourth innings chase. And if it does play out that way, however unlikely, it would be akin to what Bradman and Morris did on the final day at Headingley in 1948 when hauling down 404. Kohli knows all of this. With Ajinkya Rahane for support, fronting up bravely with a fractured finger, but playing with hands like pillows, he has the man who was in charge when India did the seemingly impossible on the final day at the Gabba a couple of years ago. Back in the land of the overwhelmingly probable, Pat Cummins and his attack have 7 wickets to take if they're to be crowned as Test World Champs for the first time. This is a finely tuned machine, one of the most well-rounded attacks Australia have ever fielded. And yes, there's the Gabba in 2021 and Sydney and Karachi last year when their 5-day missions went unfulfilled, and Leeds from 4 years ago as well. But then there's Lahore, when 15 days of slog turned into a series win when Lyon and Cummins bowled Australia to victory in the nick of time. As Andrew McDonald said then, and surely will again this morning too, they have time on their side and cannot snatch at it if periods of play do not go to plan, especially early on. Maybe they'll knock Kohli over first ball and they'll be holding up the mace by lunch. Perhaps we're here in 7 hours with 9 men around the bat, or will it be India in a barnstorming finish? This is the magic of overnight, the time for dreamers.
He's breaking into dance gigs from where we are sat. He'll love this. He's a main event player. This is his stage, and he knows he can hold court. And if he can see India through, I think this will be a crowning moment in what is already a great career.
And Pete, we love the World Test Championship, what it's been able to do for Test cricket around the world over the last 4 years. And today feels like it could be a crowning glory of the competition. If this does go all the way, if this is a contest where they're duking it out till 6 p.m, it'll be incredibly special.
My television contacts tell me that they're expecting today to be the most watched day of Test cricket in history.
Oof, incredible.
This is fantastic. This game has ignited. It's captured the imagination of the Indians. It's rating its pants off in Australia for radio and television, and everyone's obsessed by it. I look at the newspaper today and there's a raging controversy. It's just what the game needed, wasn't it? A controversy, and I think we should get to that at some stage. But yeah, this feels really special, doesn't it?
Why don't we go to the controversy first, given it's dominated so much of the conversation overnight again online. It's been fairly full on, but Pete, you've been talking to your people this morning and learned a little bit more about the way yesterday's decision was arrived at beyond the MCC law.
I have. The MCC law, when you look at it, the black letter of the law says you must have complete control of body and ball. Cameron Green didn't have complete control of body and ball. And I'm starting to think to myself when I'm reflecting on it last night, geez, maybe Harsha Bhogle is right. But don't worry, Harsha's wrong. And this is incredible. This just goes to show you how obtuse the ICC is. I mean, they make that global capitalist cabal seem transparent, frankly. Simon Taufel has told the Channel 7 WhatsApp group that the umpires are given an almanac. Now, the MCC laws of cricket are published. The umpire's almanac is not published. In fact, nobody really knew it existed. In the almanac, it says, for clarity, if the fielders, well, it says first, did the ball carry? The ball did not hit the ground before going to the hands. Yep. No evidence of ball touching the ground at the time. Now, there's a problem. But for clarity, if the fielder's fingers are clearly under the ball, but there is a possibility that the ball may have touched the ground between the fingers of one hand, this should be considered a catch.
And this is where we were talking yesterday about the interpretation by the ICC Elite Panel. Bharat was explaining it to our listeners on air, that the practical way that it's done is if your fingers are under there, because it's a ball is a round object. I mean, if you catch it, if they want to move to a world where any grass being touched by the ball rules a catch invalid, they would need to change the laws that hands couldn't be on the ground at all.
Yes,
and that feels impractical.
That's right, and you were totally across this, Bharat, but we didn't know that there's documentary evidence of this,
I'd say that there are 3 almanacs, but there's the MCC Laws book, there's the Tom Smith Almanac, which is available to all umpires all around the world, and then there's that almanac that you spoke about, Pete, which is only with the elite umpires.
Right.
And another thing to note with that was just the procedure that Richard Kettleborough followed. If you remember what he did, he kept stopping the replay where it was clear that the 2 fingers were under the ball, rather than let the video play out and let it pause where you see the doubts come into the picture.
The Shubman Gill frame,
exactly,
we'll call it, the one that he posted on
because
Twitter.
the protocols say that the catch was already completed before that, and the almanac, the elite umpires say that the catch was already completed before that. So if you just go back and launch a replay of how Richard Kettleborough does it, that tells you why he didn't have to wait till too long. Like Mohammad Shami said, maybe they could have looked at a lot more replays. You don't need to. It was very clear to the third umpire, a seasoned third umpire, that the 2 fingers were under the ball. Whatever happened after that was just incidental.
And Richard Kettleborough's under the pump now, Pete. I mean, we know what this is like. The furious response online means that he better have a thick skin.
Yeah, you have to be a person of certain character to be an umpire, to even want to be an umpire. You know, it's right up there with being a parking inspector, isn't it? You're not going to have any mates, and particularly in an incident like this. But Richard Kettleborough is a tough guy, and they're a very small group of people, and they have to stick together, that elite umpiring panel, and there'll be support around him, but. Well, you know Richard better than I, but my sense of him, and I know him reasonably well, is he's a strong character.
Yeah, I think he is. I wonder whether this will help fast-track the argument for specialist TV umpires as well. We've spoken about it a lot over the last 12 months or so, whether there might be a VAR-style bunker, where that's in association football terms, where there's 8 or 10 of them who do every game, which means that there'll be a greater degree of consistency automatically, because there'll only be a few of them doing it.
We spent 2 hours in Pakistan talking about it, didn't we, you and I, Adam? And I think we are heading towards that. We speak to a few of the elite umpires. They're not 100% on board with it yet, but because all of them do get training with technology and how to use the third umpire thing. But another important aspect to all of this is the removal of the soft signal. And you speak to anyone within the ICC, they'll tell you that the umpires, in fact, were in favor of keeping the soft signal. It was the cricket committee who said, no, we should do away with it, because the reason the umpires wanted the soft signal was it at least gives them an indicator. And don't forget, everyone who is at the elite panel has come through the ranks umpiring, and you develop an umpire's instinct. When you're out there in the middle, you just know. At least you get a fair idea.
I like that, yeah.
And I think the umpire's instincts goes away when there is no soft signal.
And to the enormous credit of India, they did regroup yesterday, not only once but twice. So they lost 2 for 1 with Rohit Sharma, bad shot, Cheteshwar Pujara, bad shot, and 2 senior men, replaced by 2 more who, I think Kohli faced 1 ball when Rughani joined him. Their partnership's worth 71 overnight. I don't think Kohli can bat any better than that. And Rughani gutsing it out with the broken finger, doing as he did so well in the first innings. If it's going to be anyone, it's going to be those 2.
Yeah, absolutely. The stage is set for these giants of the game, particularly Virat, as you said so eloquently at the top of the match. I'm glad you also mentioned that Pakistan game, because the Australian fan in me can only remember when these things have gone bad in the past. Headingley, Sydney, Brisbane. I got a sense that the Australians were just a little rattled last night. And I heard hint that there was a meeting after the game. Yeah,
exactly.
They couldn't come to the press conference because there was a meeting. I hate that idea. I hate the idea there was a meeting. I hope it's not about the game, because losers have meetings, don't they?
Yeah, and in fact, Alex Carey nearly didn't end up speaking to SEN Test Cricket, but he was the one who mentioned, no, I need to run for a meeting. I said, you have a meeting right now? He said, yeah, okay, I'll give you 2 minutes, but I need to rush to the meeting. And Cam Green took a while to come for the press conference. I don't know what that meeting was about. I saw the Australians this morning. Andrew McDonald had long chats with Mitchell Starc about angles and what fields he would like. Australia can't forget that despite all the hype around today, they have bossed this game. Yes, they made a few mistakes on the morning of day 3, but they have set a target. At the Gabba, India bowled them out. There were 3 very tired fast bowlers. There was a desperate Nathan Lyon. There was a rattled captain in Tim Payne. None of that here. They have 3 fresh fast bowlers. Nathan Lyon's bowling as well as he has in a long time. And Australia are in control of this game.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point. That the difference this time might be not so much that they're tired, but they're a little bit underdone. Spoke to Stephen Finn last night, Pete, and he's like, you can't understand how different it is going from bowling 4 overs to bowling 4 spells. Yeah. And if they get deep in the day today, it's hot yesterday, it's hot again today, that'll start to play a role in a different way. And they haven't played a tour game. They've gamed it this way. They had their centre wicket practice last week at Beckenham, but it wasn't a competitive game of cricket. And this might be a factor later today if it goes that far.
Yeah. For people in Australia, I find this hard to believe, but it is really hot in London. It was stinking hot overnight, relatively, where in the bedsit I'm staying. It was hot yesterday. It reached 30 degrees. It's expected to reach 30 degrees today. I'm just going to throw another little wobbly in there. I was talking to a local photographer on the steps, and he said, I've heard the weather report's wrong. There could be something coming at 2.
Yeah, so there's talk of a thunderstorm in the afternoon, and if there were to be, they won't have time to make up any meaningful time lost today, which could mean, in theory, we're back here on day 6. I'll leave that thought with you both. Thank you, Bharat. Thank you, Pete, for being with us on our pre-game for McCafe, celebrating 30 years of coffee fit for an Aussie. And for Drinkwise, remember, if you're drinking 2 Drinkwise, Australia have 7 wickets to get. India 280 runs to fetch to break all the records. We'll take a breather here. On the other side of the break, Nikesh Rughani will continue our conversation with Louis Cameron and Phil Long.
Nikesh Rughani alongside Louis Cameron and Phil Long as we build up to the 5th morning here. And gentlemen, it's an absolute privilege to be here first and foremost. Good morning.
Good morning, Nikesh. Good morning, Phil. It is. We've just been looking at the bad list. We were just talking about this one yesterday, where Australia might be kind of coming in here dreading, what's happened before in Karachi in 2022, at the SCG in the 21-22 Ashes, Headingley 2019, the Gabba. But, speaking to Mohammed Shami last night in the presser, he said none of that matters. It's all about what's in front of them here.
Yeah, Adam Collins wandered in this morning. I was here before him again. I just thought I'd get that in. He said, I'm emotional, Phil. I'm emotional. And it does feel like that, doesn't it? You mentioned it is a privilege. We look out here. Gosh, if we'd have wanted to set this game up, I know India need 444 to win. But to come on the 5th day of a World Championship final, one team needs 7 wickets. One team needs 280 runs. It's what you would have prepared, wouldn't you? And the sun is shining, might be storms later, but wow, we are 3 lucky boys.
Indeed, yeah, and the crowd building up really nicely here ahead of this 5th day as well. There wasn't as much action and buzz. I think there was a lot of tension, really, when I saw a lot of the Indian fans coming off the tubes. I saw some Australian flags as well making their way off there. They're expectant. They believe that they've got enough time still left in this game. In their way, Virat Kohli, as we've already spoken about earlier on, but also Ajinkya Rahane back in the side, led India obviously in that series down under, that famous win at the Gabba and everything that came with it as well. An experienced man, he's been there, he's done it. He's looking cool. He's looking in great form as well. We've talked about how good Kohli is looking, but Rahane, he's almost got a Joe Root kind of air about it, just accumulating those runs without you even noticing.
And to be doing it with what is probably a broken finger is, heroic. Let's see him keep batting today. I want to talk a little bit about the Australians' economy rates, because you said, there's enough time in this game to get those extra 280 runs. Part of that is because the Australians have been really expensive in this test. I just want to bring up Pat Cummins for a start. During the 2019 Ashes, he went at 2.69 runs per over for the entire series. Keeping things tight was a hallmark of his game. It's been a hallmark of his career. In this test so far, he's gone at 4.31, close to double. And he's never gone at more than 4 per over in both innings of a test ever. So that just shows he, A, is a bit rusty, and B, this pitch is still really good for batting. We saw it last night, and even when Stark was batting, the ball was coming on really nicely. All those balls that we thought would be deviating and coming up off a length like the one Stark got to Kohli in the first innings just weren't happening yesterday. So I think the big question is, we're watching the light roller go over that pitch at the moment, how much of an impact that might have, how much of an impact the slightly older ball will have going into day 5.
Pat Cummins, the captain, of course, will also be coming under a little bit of pressure. Young into the role, of course. Had a good start, really, and then was asked a few different questions on that tour of India, that Border Gavaskar series as well. You feel this is a crucial moment for Pat Cummins, the captain, as well as the bowler.
Yeah, a defining moment, you'd say. I mean, he was excellent in his leadership in Pakistan. I think people forget about that series in terms of people were saying how well Smith did when he took over from Cummins during the second 2 tests of that series in India last year. People kind of forgot that Pat actually had a terrific captaincy run in Pakistan the previous year. So how he manoeuvres his bowlers, I've been watching him this morning, talking a lot to Andrew McDonald. Lots of different conversations between the captain and the coach about how they're going to keep the runs down, how they're going to get Kohli out, how they're going to get Rughani out, and Mitchell Stark was involved in those as well.
Nathan Lyon as well, Phil. He's going to enjoy bowling out there. We saw Jadeja causing problems. We saw Lyon causing a few problems yesterday as well. It's a 5th-day pitch. It's the Oval. Yes, conditions do appear to generally be steadying out and getting a little bit easier to bat on. But there are those footmarks outside the off-stump for the left-hander. Jadeja to come, of course. But even with Stark bowling come over the wicket from the far end as well, there's just a little bit starting to develop outside the off-stump for the right-handers too.
That's right, and I think Nathan Lyon's role, certainly this morning, is going to be twofold. It's obviously going to take some of the 7 wickets that Australia need. But as Louis Cameron mentioned, 164 for 3. That's off 40 overs. We're only halfway to the next new ball. Right, it's a bit basic. Extrapolate it forward. That's 330 runs when the new ball becomes available. India will have gone a long way to breaking the back of this chase at that point. So I say Nathan Lyon today. Wickets, obviously, but if he can just dry up a few runs, make it a lot more easier for the Australian quick bowlers.
And remember, this is a team, this isn't England. This isn't a team that wants to get 20 wickets as fast as possible and then score the runs fast. Australia like dour, dry cricket. They don't like going at lots of runs per over. So this is going to take a lot of recalibration for them to say, okay, we're willing to give up a few runs, willing to go at over 4 and over in the hunt of wickets. It doesn't come naturally to them.
Thank you, Louis and Phil, for now. So India, yes, as we mentioned, 3 for 164. Australia needing 7 wickets to become World Test champions. India need a further 280 runs. It is set up beautifully here with Virat Kohli unbeaten on 44, Ajinkya Rahane on 20. We're around 6 minutes from the start of play here on SEN Test Cricket. Adam Collins will take over from me for the start of the game after this short break.
From a cafe, celebrating 30 years of coffee fit for an Aussie. The World Test Championship Final. Australia versus India on SEN Cricket.
SEN Test Cricket for Maccas. Here's the 30 years of the McCafe. What a response when Virat Kohli and Ajinkya Rahane walked out into the middle. Adam Collins, Bharat Sundaresan, and Phil Long to start the day. That was loud.
Oh, hey, it's been loud ever since Virat Kohli was spotted for the first time this morning. Good morning, Adam. Good morning, Phil. Before we get going, how privileged are we to be in this position, to have this view of this wonderful day? I mean, we've spoken a lot about the relevance of World Test Championship cricket, the final itself, one random match at the end of a 2-year cycle. But as this game stands right now, it all makes sense. It is the ultimate test. They built it up to be the most important test match in the cricket calendar, and it feels like it.
And when we started, a few people saying, why is this game being held in England? Remember,
Yes.
why is it? Wow. The Oval has told us why this game is being held in England.
So all to play for. 280 to get for India. For something truly sensational. Bowling to start from Australia from the pavilion end. First ball here keeps low to Rahane. Underneath the blade, he wanted to cut, didn't get up. Bowling from the pavilion end, I thought it would be Pat Cummins.
Yeah, he's not bowled too many spells from that end.
No.
He bowled one late yesterday. This is only his second spell, but Australia will be very encouraged with that first ball. Didn't do anything off the seam, but that uneven bounce, which strangely enough we didn't see enough of.
That really has shot through. I'm just watching it back here for Tyre Power. End of financial year sale. That barely got to knee roll height. So something to think about for Rughani on 20. Facing Boland here. Right arm over, pavilion end, defending out to cover. Even the big roar of no, the crowd are on their feet. The tickets last night were going for extraordinary amounts of money online. I saw someone trying to flog some on social media and asking a huge pretty penny, especially given they weren't selling day 5 tickets initially to this.
Day 4 was sold out a long time ago. Like you said, Adam, it's not just about what could happen today, it's about Virat Kohli being unbeaten.
So 2 back for the short ball, 3 catching men. Boland delivers, Rughani gets forward, defends out towards mid-on. We mentioned in the pre-game that he's got a broken finger or a fractured finger. He's got it all strapped up over the top of his batting glove. The way he's played with such lovely soft hands as a deep third man, or deep backward point, I should say, Nathan Lyon for that very shot. He's been batting like Joe Root the last couple of days.
Yeah, and his wife put out a post on Instagram. He's refused to get a scan done. I mean, once it was shown that he does have a fracture. We didn't see him fielding, but it was an external injury, so it made sure that he could bat at number 5.
Warner, Smith and Green the catches. Boland in, delivers here. Rughani driving out to mid-off. Just patting it out to Usman Khawaja, but every ball's getting the treatment from the crowd. All eyes on the Indian pair, the experienced Indian pair. Phil Long.
Louis Cameron, he's got his bad list, hasn't he, of the days that have gone wrong for Australia. Let's just put things back in context. All the years that cricket has been held at this amazing ground in South London, the highest score to win any first-class game, 427. Cambridge University versus Surrey back in 1925. We've mentioned the highest test score here, that various highest test scores. It's still a long way to go.
Sure is. Boland. 5th ball of the day to Rughani, who's driving back to the bowler. Stops it in his follow-through. Right at the middle of the bat, though. Good start for India's number 5.
I wonder what the most number of runs scored on day 5 would be at the Oval in a test match. Along, I'll put you on the job, as I do. But yeah, 280 runs. Still Australia's game. Australia can't forget that. They need to keep reminding themselves. Cam Green made a very valid point yesterday. He said sometimes with the Indian crowd, they can make you feel like it's their team on top.
Boland to complete the first over of day 5. Rughani here driving again out to Khawaja at mid-off. So a maiden to begin. 3 for 164 remains to score on the Beaumont scoreboard. Beaumont tails. Huge sail on now. Kohli back on strike in a moment on 44. Rughani 20. Kohli hit 7 boundaries last night. Each one better than the one that came before it. He was in dazzling, Nick.
He was. I mean, just the way his feet were moving. And you know Virat Kohli is really ticking by watching his feet. The way he moves towards the ball and leaves the ball. There's intent with every bit of movement he makes at the crease. And that's what we saw yesterday. And that's when he starts playing the drive and the flick with equal ease. No surprises that Australia are starting with their 2 best bowlers of the game, Pat Cummins and Scott Boland.
So Pat Cummins from the Vauxhall end, he's got his collar popped. Brilliant all-round record. His 50th test match, 221 wickets at 21.5.
Wow.
The man for all seasons for Australia. He was able to bowl into victory in Lahore last March on that final afternoon with Nathan Lyon, who we'll see, I'm sure, soon enough. He'll start with Kohli. 2 slips the gully, 2 men back for the short ball, mid-on, mid-off, cover, and a deep point. Cummins away from us, bowls here, Kohli, first delivery, pushed into the onside, quick single, takes on Stark, great running. Fantastic running from Kohli, called Rughani through. First run of the day, Kohli 45, 3 for 165, 279 to go.
That's how loud the cheer is for Virat Kohli scoring his first run of the day. Imagine what it's going to be like if he bats for the next few hours, Adam Collins.
When you sent me a message very early this morning, Baz, saying, special day for India. I don't know. This is the beauty of where we start today, but the fact that we're even thinking in those terms is down to the way that Kohli batted last night. He came together with Rughani. He'd faced one ball when Rughani walked out at the full of Bharat and Ravi in the space of a couple of overs. It's Rughani here on 20. Cummins to him, a bit wider at the crease, pushed out to the onside, no run. It had to be these two.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you have a great batter. Like, there are good, really good batters, and then there's a great batter like Virat Kohli batting the way he does. It changes opinions of people. I was having a debate with a former colleague of mine back in India who said, what a fascinating test match you're covering. I was like, well, it's been really good, but Australia have been so far ahead of India throughout this match and still are.
You made a great point about the crowd. You know, a number of times I've looked down at the book and thought, Australia are winning this game by a long way, aren't they?
So it's Cummins to the crease and using his hands so nicely behind to deep third. Like a steer in a one-day international. Gets a couple out in front of the Lock Laker stand. He's 22, 3 for 167.
And Virat Kohli has just run that second run with his back turned.
Backwards.
So Rughani and Kohli both off the mark on the final day. Win predictor, according to CricViz, has Australia at 89 and India at 8, which rather goes to your point, Phil. And I think the other point in all of this is that there might reach a point later today where one of the two sides, it's in their interest to think about the draw, which is slightly unusual from where we are. You would see this analysis and think, well, it's one side's winning today. The India chant goes around. Rughani facing Patrick Cummins, bowls here and defends right in behind it. Solid to start. I think the draw, the reason I keep raising the draw is that if India, a draw is as good as a win in terms of splitting the world. I mean, not as good as a win, but they can split the world championship here, right? So they don't need to win to be successful in a roundabout kind of way. I can see a scenario where Australia might be defending 6 and over or something like that in the final hour and have to set fields accordingly. I think it's unlikely, but it's an extra element today you wouldn't get in an ordinary test match. 2 left in Cummins over. Up to Rughani. Bowls here, Rughani. Inside edge, back onto the pad. Not a long way from the leg stump. Cummins charges up to the batter as Carey collects and throws it round the cordon.
A good start from Pat Cummins. He's lacked rhythm in a number of spells during this test match. We've seen him bowl a lot of no balls. 9 of them, if I'm not mistaken, longy. But even or 10 of them, even with the consistency you always associate with Pat Cummins and his bowling, has not been there, not often enough. Anyway, and that's one of the reasons India still believe that they have a chance here.
His economy in this innings north of 4.5 and over, which is unheard of for Pat Cummins.
And he went for over 4 and over in the first innings as well.
So Cummins to complete his first over of the day. Away from us, into Rughani. Bowls here, Rughani opens the face of the bat for a second time. Good over for him, 4 runs for India. That's all on the Beaumont scoreboard. Beaumont Tiles, huge sale on now. Rughani 23, Kohli 45, India 3 for 168.
Beaumont Tiles is proudly sponsoring Test Cricket's World Cup final, and I'd like to bowl you over with these Beaumont bargains. Coming at us at top speed is their monster bathroom wear catalogue sale, packed with everything at up to 25% off. Vanities, baths, shower screens and even the kitchen sink, and yes, up to 25% off Australia's biggest tile range. Well, that's bowled me over, up to 25% off all bathroom wear and tiles. You'll be happy you chose Australia's #1 Beaumont Tiles.
We're here at the Oval World Test Championship final for Maccas. Here's to 30 years of the McCafe. And our first session for Drink Wise. Remember, if you're having a drink, to Drink Wise. Bit of housekeeping. I'm told that we're synced up perfectly with Channel 7 again in Australia, which is just a stroke of good fortune. So you can turn down the telly and listen to us through the effects mic. Scotty Boland in here, bowling to Rughani. Inside edge onto his pad. Second of those this morning. Boland operating from the pavilion end. Has 1 for 38 in his 13th over. Phil Long.
I think Pete Lawler mentioned how many people might be watching this game in India as well. How many TVs are tuned in over there watching this?
What time is it in India now, Baz?
It's
just gone 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock, yeah.
Perfect
Sunday
time for
afternoon, yeah. Lunch would be done in most households. The kitchen would be cleaned up.
Yeah, 20 to 8 it would be in.
A couple of samosas, cup of chai.
Yes, yeah.
Oh.
It's kind of the perfect time zone, isn't it, to watch through the night for both sets of fans. Neutral venue here at the Oval.
Glass of beer and a cup of chai.
2 slips of gully. Rughani facing Boland. Closer to the stumps. Opens the face again. Rughani started really well this morning. He's 24 with a single. 3 for 169. This is Rughani at his very best, working the angles to perfection.
That's why this partnership has always worked so well for India away from home. Kohli brings the intensity, the energy. Rughani brings the calm. And it's different to a Cheteshwar Pujara, who can at times get stuck at one end. He's not the best at rotating the strike. One thing Ajinkya Rahane has always been good at throughout his career is he'll keep the strike rotating. The rate at which he scores is often underrated, and that's largely because he's batted so many times alongside Virat Kohli.
So it's Boland in. Kohli's turn on 45. Defends out to Khawaja at cover. So Kohli yesterday, 7 fours, couple down the ground late in the day. Joy to watch. Striking at 74. Partnership of 76.
This has become such a feature of Virat Kohli over the years, that napkin that he just has hanging off his left, over his left thigh. Very few batters he wore the red rag, comes to mind. Trademark Virat Kohli.
He's waiting for Boland. To the crease, delivers, and Kohli on the forward press out towards Khawaja at point. Had your lovely piece last night about the kiss he blew to Anushka, his wife.
Yeah, it's quite something. I just walked around to the other side of the ground to interview Alex Carey, and I just had my eyes on Virat Kohli. Because nothing was said between him and Ajinkya Rahane, just a fist bump. When he just looked up, took his helmet off, and it was a proper kiss that he blew. There wasn't nothing subtle about it. And you're right, I heard you in the opening of the coverage. He's used her as an inspiration in the last 2-3 years, and times have been tough as well.
Boland up, 2 left in the over. Kohli hit on the pad, got to be close. All eyes on umpire Gaffney, who turns it down. It was full, and Kohli was trying to clip it out to mid-wicket, as he was so effective in doing yesterday. Carey liked it. Cummins is talking to Boland and the wicket-keeper. 7 seconds left on the clock. They'll keep their powder dry. Yeah. They won't send it upstairs.
That's a good sign for Australia. Just seeing the replay of it with a full ball and missing.
That would have been a dreadful review.
Would have.
Now, third umpire keeping an eye on that for IMAR Insurance. The tradies mate, call 13 IMAR, and the replay for Tyre Power, end of financial year sale. No, not hitting a second set.
Yeah, first ball that's gone past Virat Kohli's bat though, so Scott Boland will take some confidence from that. But good signs that Australia didn't look too desperate to go for that review so early in the day.
To end the over, Boland in, Kohli right out the middle of the bat to Khawaja at cover point. Over complete. 3 for 169 India on the Beaumont scoreboard. Beaumont Tiles, huge sale on now with Kohli on 45, Rahane 24, and the target's 444.
Stay on the ball while you're on the road. The SEN app is now available on Apple CarPlay, so you can keep up with all the big moments, expert commentary, and the latest news. When it happens in sport, SEN has you covered. Find the SEN app on Apple CarPlay.
Bring, bring. Hello, it's Bargain calling. Get Kogan Mobile monthly plan. Unlimited talk, text, and 40 gigs for $25 a month with first month free. Talk about a bargain. KoganMobile.com.au. T's and C's apply.
275 for India required on this final day. There will be 90 overs bowled, being day 5. The fact that we've had so many overs lost, I think 37 we're up to, Phil.
Yep.
So they've lost more than a session through the first 4 days, but on day 5 you've got to get through all 90, whatever it takes. Cummins locks all in. It's Rahane on 24. 2 slips of gully, bowls here. Rahane defends and gets one just behind point. Labuschagne slides and collects and throws at the non-striker's end line as the backing up. 3 for 170. Rahane 25.
Rahane has been very busy in these. Played that shot really nicely. Soft touch, deft touch that he does have. Plays the ball very late. One of the main reasons he's been so successful away from home, but at the same time has a good game against spin bowling. And he's kept the scoring ticking. Virat Kohli, he's in a trance, he's intense. Would like a boundary early.
Cummins has got Kohli out 5 times in Test cricket. What he would give to make it 6 here. Back of a length defended.
And that's something Virat Kohli thrives on, getting that boundary away early, then the noise around the ground just picks up and then it won't die down. That's when he comes into his best. And Australia, I think, are doing a good job with Virat Kohli. And even with the length that they're bowling, he's so prone to press forward away from home. I've spoken to him about this many times. He's always focused on getting his body weight coming at the ball. And you can see the number of times he just leans forward and the front foot comes out regardless of what the length is. And Australia would have noticed it.
Kohli waiting for Cummins. Bowls here, Vauxhall end. Steers it through backward point as well. So they've got the sweeper for it. It's working so far. They're cutting off that boundary. Kohli, 46, 3 for 171. I think the important thing about that partnership last night, which was worth 71, we're watching a replay here for Tyre Power, end of financial year sale. Cummins is hiding the ball on the approach. We're obscured because we're behind him at the moment, but clearly looking for some reverse swing, any that might be out there at the moment. But yeah, it took attention off the green catch at least a little bit. But there's Kohli and Rughani giving them a puncher's chance. In again, Cummins, this time to Rughani. He gets underneath the bouncer. Bit leg side there, no real threat. But nevertheless, it was ferocious online last night. I experienced some of it. It was worse for you. I mean, some of the abuse that's come your way for being naturalised Australian, despite having obviously grown up in India, that can't be nice.
No, it wasn't. I mean, it got pretty nasty. Basically, the word traitor was thrown around a lot just because I said an Australian took a legal catch. Yeah, it got pretty intense. People wanted me thrown in jail for life. Some people wanted me shot. It's the evil of social media at times.
Disgraceful. Cummins in, Rughani leaves alone close to the off stump. That's a bit of shape, which might be the reverse swing that Cummins was striving for earlier in the set. Well bowled down, well left. That died into the gloves of Carey as well. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's robust feedback any old time, but a moment of controversy yesterday brought out the worst of people. I know that the response to what we were saying on here was fairly ferocious, and my podcast after play as well, but it must be so much worse when you are from India and having people question your integrity as well in such a violent way. Cummins to finish, wider of the crease to Rughani. Short ball, takes it on, down towards fine leg, 4 runs. Top edge, bounced a couple of times before running into the fence in front of the old pavilion here at the Kia Oval. So first boundary of the day by Rughani, 29 for him. Kohli 46 on the Beaumont scoreboard. Beaumont Tiles, huge sale on now. India, 3 for 175.
Beaumont Tiles is proudly sponsoring Test Cricket's World Cup final by hitting a 6 with their massive bathroom wear catalogue sale. How's this? Vanities, basins, baths, loos, and even tapware are all slashed by up to 25% off. Plus, yes, plus, get up to 25% off all tiles. That's another 6 for Beaumont's. Head into one of over 110 stores around the country and save up to 25% on bathroom wear and tiles. You'll be happy you chose Australia's #1, Beaumont Tiles.
Our first session on SEN Test Cricket. World Test Championship Final is for Drinkwise. Remember, if you're drinking, to Drinkwise. And for Maccas, here's to 30 years of the McCafe. Boland, his third over of the morning, delivers to Kohli here on 46. He shoulders arms a ball that really takes off into the gloves of Carey. So a little bit of volatile bounce this morning. Last ball of the previous Cummins over. It was periscope, wasn't it, from Rughani? He didn't really want to play that shot.
And he just left his bat hanging. And it got almost a top edge or the bottom edge of the bat because he was holding it up the way he was. Again, this delivery from Scott Boland. Look at Virat Kohli's front foot. He's just plonking it in front of him, and he saw what can happen in the first innings when Mitchell Starc got one to rear up.
So Kohli's 46. Boland to him here over the wicket. He defends to mid-on.
Good testing spell from Scott Boland.
I think we said in the pre-game, Bharat, that Andrew McDonald in the Pakistan third test last year said a lot later about the attitude they took to the final day when Pakistan needed about 280, probably the same, roughly. Had all 10 wickets in hand, and don't snatch at it.
Yeah.
We might have a bad hour or two. That will happen. And they ended up having a very good first hour, Cameron Green especially, but it's all about patience today. Boland. Kohli's faced 69 balls and he's driving straight to extra cover where Usman Khawaja does the fielding. He's had about 6 touches already this morning in that position.
Yeah, all from this end. It's the line and the length that Scott Boland is bowling. allows Virat Kohli to drive a couple and just pulls his length back. Nathan Lyon is already beginning to warm up. I thought he bowled really well last evening. He's the one who broke the game when Rohit Sharma was taking the game by the scruff of his neck and it's flowing. Got him to play a false shot. We'll be seeing him before long.
Still the 2 slip Scully configuration behind the wicket. Bowling to Kohli, who leaves alone. That's close to the off stump. Quite a bit of movement back to the right-hander, albeit mostly after it passed the stump, so no concerns. But that's what Boland's trying to do. We saw him take the off stump out the ground in the first innings with a ball that was left alone, Shubman Gill.
Yeah, what Scott Boland wants to do here is to get Virat Kohli to second guess himself, and was close to the off stump, and you could see as soon as Kohli turned around, he practiced coming across his stumps a little more. He's got him thinking this is a good spell.
This little subtle changes of grip we've seen from Boland featured through the week. In again to Kohli, the big wicket. Steers down to deep third where Nathan Lyon tidies up again. 47 with the single, 3 for 176. Of course, you can tune in across Australia and New Zealand as Brendan Corlett has. They're sitting on SENZ. Good afternoon, good evening. Good evening? Yes, good evening. So him in New Zealand. 0433 98 11 16. If you want to stay in touch with us throughout the day on the text line. If you're in Australia. And the real thing to do is turn the volume down on the telly. Listen to us. Soak in the effects, Mike. We'll be with you every ball of this final day. Final ball of the over here from Scott Boland. His 14th over. Delivers and Rughani. Easy as you like, placing it to mid-on. It's been impressive this morning so far. 45 overs gone for India in their chase of 444. They're 3 for 176 on the Beaumont scoreboard. Beaumont tails sail on now. Kohli 47, Rughani 29.
The Kia EV6 GT. A sleek, pure electric supercar. Enjoy your flight. The Kia EV6 GT.
Kia, movement that inspires.
SEN Test Cricket for Maccas. Here's the 30 years of the McCafe. Adam Collins, Bharat, Sundaresan, Phil Long with you. Beginning our broadcast on the 5th day. The sun's just hidden behind a cloud for the first time in a while. Cloudless throughout yesterday. There might be a storm later. There's been some chat of that. Phil Long's had his weather radar up before play began. Pat Cummins starts his 12th over. 52 runs conceded so far. Delivers to Kohli, who's in behind it defending, but a little bit of movement reflected in the oohs and ahs from the Australian cordon.
Yeah, a little bit of movement, and again the ball keeping a little low. It hit Virat Kohli's battery low down. He let out a bit of an ooh as well. Pat Cummins has been working really hard on his reverse swing bowling the last 12 or so months. I've seen him in training sessions. Have like specific reverse swing sessions or spells where he gets the batters to constantly give him feedback. He's always in conversation with Andrew McDonald and some of the other coaches.
2 back for a short ball, if and when it comes. Kohli's 47, and he drives out to mid-off, where there'll be one, because Mitchell Starc has enough time to race around and cut it off. 48 with the single, 3 for 177. Phil Long?
Yeah, the Charlotte Edwards Cup final day in Worcester yesterday. I saw some pictures. It went from glorious sunny skies to very, very dark. I wouldn't say pitch black, but very, very dark in the blink of an eye. So those storms, when they come over, will come quickly and might come quite strongly, because the outfield was flooded within minutes.
I was going to ask you that, Phil. Did it flood at New Road? It always floods at Worcester. So Cummins trying to find that reverse swing, hiding the ball into Rughani. He's 29, and he's finding an inside edge that deflects into the cordon. Maybe off the front pad. So Cummins has got the ball moving around enough. We'll get a second look here for tyre power. So he's banged it in back of a length. It was all off the back thigh pad rather than the inside edge. That replay for tyre power. End of financial year sale on now.
Beat him for pace there. So this pitch we've seen does quicken up in the first session, and then as the day wears on and the sun beats on it, it gets slower and slower and slower.
Cummins, captain, he bowls wider of the crease, and Rughani That's better. That contact point right under his eyes. Watching it onto the blade. Every time he plays a persuasive defensive stroke, the crowd go up.
One thing I have noticed already this morning, Adam, is Virat Kohli is not encouraging Nathan Lyon in any conversation. We saw it throughout the India tour, how they could not stop speaking to each other. But Virat Kohli can get into that trance-like state. And a few times Nathan Lyon was shooting at a shot mid-on, has walked up to him in his direction and said a few words. Nah, but nothing back from Kohli.
Lyon's been warming up as well. Won't be long before we see the off-spinner. Hasn't had a lot of work in this test so far, but he will today. Cummins hides the ball, bowls here, Kohli. Make that Rughani, sorry, down to deep backward point. Of course it's Rughani, if that's where the ball's gone. He moves into the 30s from his 80th delivery, 3 for 178. One ball left in this Cummins over.
Rughani instead, acknowledging Nathan Lyon. I just saw shots on TV of the respective wives of these two batters sitting together, soaking in all the action.
Rughani and Lyon having quite a long exchange there. Got the binoculars on Rughani. He's smiling straight in Lyon's direction, not phased at all. So Cummins from the Vauxhall end hides the ball wide of the crease. Kohli tries to pull, doesn't get much of it. It'll be Lyon with the work from mid-on, racing around to mid-wicket. He's 49, retains the strike at the end of the over. 3 for 179 on the Beaumont scoreboard. Beaumont tiles huge sail on now. India require 265 further runs for victory.
Beaumont Tiles is proudly sponsoring Test Cricket's World Cup final, and I'd like to bowl you over with these Beaumont bargains. Coming at us at top speed is their monster bathroom wear catalogue sale, packed with everything at up to 25% off. Vanities, baths, shower screens, even the kitchen sink. And yes, up to 25% off Australia's biggest tile range. Well, that's bowled me over. Up to 25% of all bathroom wear and tiles. You'll be happy you chose Australia's #1, Beaumont Tiles.
SEN Test Cricket for Maccas. Here's the 30 years of the McCafe. And our first session for Drinkwise. Remember, if you're drinking, to Drinkwise. Virat Kohli on strike on 49. And the crowd know it. Bowling to him here from the pavilion end. And Kohli is beaten outside the off stump. That's the one that goes the other way. Marnus Labuschagne appealing. He's still got his arms up, Marnus. Gotta love him. Well, Pat, to be fair, Pat's actually taking Marnus seriously here. He's running over to ask, well...
Oh, they've gone for it.
They've gone for it. Well, that's unusual, Brett. Last couple of years when Marnus has wanted a review, they've usually excluded him from the process. But he's insistent that he heard something, and it can be nothing but that on ball.
And the only reason Pat Cummins has gone for it is Steve Smith started charging down from second slip, and he said if anyone has heard it, it has to be Marnus. Virat Kohli is having a bit of a chuckle.
Australia's success rate with DRS in this cycle of the WTC is 26%, we're told on TV, for tyre power in the financial year sale on. Now, first replay, Bharat, what do you think?
I think the ball went past by the time the bat came down, and just looking at Virat Kohli's reaction, it looked like it missed the bat.
Here's the ultra edge, and there's no spike. So Australia will lose a review. And we know how precious they can be on a final day. We saw that at Leeds 4 years ago, dare I say it. And they've blown one there. Misses Labuschagne and Smith.
Steve Smith, vice captain, as much as a say in these decisions as Marnus, and he is standing behind the wicket, but brilliant bowling from Scott Boland.
Passes umpire Gaffney here. Kohli, 49, leaves alone. Nice carry through to Carey. Committed to the leave nice and early.
And I think Kohli is also identified and recognized that he needs to somehow see off the Scott Boland spell. Pat Cummins is getting the ball to reverse a little. It hasn't been as challenging as Scott Boland from the Mickey Stewart Pavilion end. It's the lengths he bowls. This is Scott Boland at his ultimate best. Is what Virat Kohli thinking? I've been saying all morning. He just seems to be concentrating on coming forward for everything.
No inch given. Just 15 runs scored in half an hour this morning. Boland up. Kohli on 49. Edge and taken! Stephen Smith at second slip. dives across. It's a screamer. Boland gets a huge wicket of Virat Kohli. And Steve Smith, he's made an art form of diving to his right. Scott Boland, the man who Australia could always depend on. And what a moment on the final day of this World Test Championship final at the Oval. Scott Boland gets Kohli. It's 4 for 179.
Scott Boland take a bow. It's been an outstanding spell of bowling to a world-class batter. He's got him second-guessing on so many occasions on what to play and what to leave alone. He's changed his length around. Virat Kohli has been plonking his front foot forward. And this one was fuller, slightly wider. He dragged him out. Outstanding catch from Steve Smith, but full credit to Scott Boland. He's worked him over, and he's given Australia a big blow.
Brilliant response from the Australian field as well. Not least Smith celebrating another wicket for Tobin Brothers' funeral, celebrating lives. Ravindra Jadeja, the left-hander, walks out now. India's only left-hander. But Boland, 2 for 40. What a moment in this Test match. And just as it was at indoor, Stephen Smith behind the wicket, that was the moment that turned that Test match, when Smith diving behind Alex Carey. A miraculous catch off Nathan Lyon to get rid of Pujara. Well, here, the man most likely was always going to be Kohli. How well he batted last night, only adding 5 runs to his overnight score. Back in the dressing room for 49. And Australia one massive step further forward to winning this World Test Championship final.
You could see it coming, though. I just mentioned that Virat Kohli would be desperate to see off this bowling spell. It's been one of the best spells of fast bowling we've seen throughout this Test match. And it's not because he's kept beating the bat. He beat the bat only once. Just the way he kept Virat Kohli guessing as to what to play at, what he could leave alone. And you could see, even though Australia burnt the review, in a way, that little time they took for the review got Virat Kohli thinking even more. Because it was a great delivery that beat his bat.
Yeah, just 2 balls before it. Phil Long.
Yeah, just 5 from 18 balls for Virat Kohli this morning. No boundaries. The Australians gave him nothing.
Yeah, Louis Cameron was talking about the Australian economy rates before play today, and they've really tightened up here, giving nothing. Jadeja's first ball, 3 in the cordon, Boland round the wicket. Jadeja leaves alone. Made 48 in the first innings.
Fresh off his IPL heroics as well, Ravindra Jadeja. What a catch from Steve Smith. We've become so conditioned to seeing him snatch these superlative catches behind the wicket at slip. That was flying in such a big moment in the game as well. He's dropped a few. It's when it's most difficult that Steve Smith comes good.
That's right. The replay for tyre power. End of financial year sale. Got a great look at it. Timed his dive. Feet in the air, and Kohli throws his head back. Boland here. Jadeja's second ball. It's as well. Boland gets 2 in 3 balls. Jadeja caught behind for a second ball duck. Australia on a roll. Scott Boland the star. India 5 for 179. They are working them over.
How can you keep this man out of this playing 11? What a bowler, Scott Boland. Just got the big wicket of Virat Kohli. This time going around the wicket straight to Ravindra Jadeja, who does have the tendency to feel at deliveries outside off stump. But that was quite the delivery.
Gorgeous. The shape. We're seeing it on the replay for tyre power. End of financial year sale. Angling in, shaping away, kissing the edge. The stuff you dream of as a fast bowler. And this is a dream come true for Australia, getting Kohli and Jadeja in the space of 3 deliveries, 2 genuine match winners, and both of them in the book from the bowling of Scott Boland, who has 3 for 40. And still 1 ball left in the over.
What a story, Scott Boland. Who would have thought 2 years ago that he would be playing a World Test Championship final at the Oval alongside Pat Cummins and Mitchell Starc, and out-bowling both of them. We saw he was the best bowler in the first innings for Australia. Made the difference at crucial times.
And now they get an early look at KS Brad as well, who's yet to really threaten Australia across 4.5 Test matches. Then the longest tail begins after Shardul Thakur, who'll come in at 8. So Australia, in the space of 3 balls, have opened up the quick kill.
saw Rahul Dravid have a long chat with KS Bharat this morning. Like he said, he's been very unconvincing at this level.
29 years of age, averaging 20 at test level, all his test against Australia. Make that 18, sorry, he missed out in the first dig, didn't he?
No.
Bharat was bowled by Boland through the gate. Second ball of the day on day 2, feels like a long time ago. That's where Australia laid the foundation in that first innings.
Well, the stage is set for someone to make a hero of themselves. It's KS Bharat's opportunity.
Packed cordon. Warner, Smith, Khawaja, Green. Line of backward point, cover, mid-wicket. Deep backward square fine leg. Hits the edge over the top of first slip 4. KS Bharat, that's exploded off his glove. 2 wickets in the bowl and over. Magnificent stuff. Could easily have been 3. 5 for 183 on the Beaumont scoreboard. Beaumont tails huge sail now. Rughani 30. Bharat yet to score. We're jumping out. Coming in for us, Bharat. Nikesh, Rughani and Louis Cameron after the break.
The old favourite, My Way, takes an early lead in the Celebrating Live Stakes, followed by High Tea, who's travelling well. Red Tulips is blooming beautifully, followed in behind them by Wind Beneath My Wings. Coming late is the Harleyhurst. Yes, it's the Harleyhurst who's running on. They hit the line. The judges called for the photo in the Celebrating Live Stakes.
Thanks, Brian. When you reach the final finishing line, how would you like to be celebrated? Find out more at turbanbrothers.com.au. Turban Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
SEN Test Cricket live here for McCafe, celebrating 30 years of coffee fit for an Aussie. India on the ropes now as Pat Cummins starts a new over into Rughani, who just tucks this into the leg side, behind square, off the thigh pad in the end for a single. Signalled as leg buys. Louis, what a start for Australia. Couldn't have gone any better. Kohli first, and Jadeja not lasting too long either.
Remarkable. And that man, Scott Boland, again, I've got to say, Nikesh, the overall volume at the Oval right now has just dropped from ear-splitting this morning when we first arrived. People were so excited to see Virat Kohli bat. I was excited to see Virat Kohli bat. Could he bring India home? And since he's been out, it has just been a lull.
Indeed. I'm surprised a lot of the fans have stuck around. They've obviously paid a lot for their tickets, wanting to make the most of the day. KS Bharat then on strike. Survived an edge of his first over, and he defends this one to extra cover off Cummins. Bharat with not really a great record at this level. Has scored runs quite regularly at first class. In Test cricket, really has failed to get going. There was that 44 which he made in Ahmedabad. I mean, to be fair, Louis, I mean, you could have made a century on that pitch, couldn't you?
Not sure about a century. I backed myself in for a good 30. Yeah, I would have struggled against Jadeja, spinning him away. He would have targeted my front pad. But yeah, maybe 30 if I got through to Jadeja.
Exactly. Absolute featherbed, that one. In comes Cummins again, and this time Bharat defends into the leg side, and there is no run. There's some supporters in the corporate box next to us. There's a couple of familiar faces. The gentleman there with the sunglasses on the second row from the back, looking at his phone vigorously, texting his friends and family to say things aren't going well. It's not the start we wanted. Don't come. Don't come. He has been passionate.
Don't pay that tout.
He has been so passionate throughout the Test match, and it's good to see the loyalty shown by a lot of these supporters, just coming day after day, and India clawing their way back into the match. But as things stand, they're on the ropes and on the verge of defeat here.
And you just got, before I jump in here, Phil, you've just got to hand it to the crowd. Like this game has been made by the Indian fans, and if India weren't playing in this game, if Australia were playing a different team, it wouldn't have been half as much fun. So we are kind of enjoying it at their expense at the moment, but they've just been electric this match.
Cummins charges in past the umpire, delivers. Bharat is pushing forward at this one. Good firm contact on that one, but straight to short extra cover. And it's interesting always, isn't it, when you see the graphic on the television screen. It was India 280 runs to win at the start of the day. Now it's Australia need 5 wickets to win. Shows you where the game's at.
And also, you mentioned it, Louis, you can gauge where the game is at by the volume of this crowd, can't you? It was a 9 when Kohli came in. We're maybe down to us kind of 4 now.
4's high, I reckon.
You reckon?
Being generous.
2 or 3, I reckon.
Yeah, the buzz of the plane going up above the oval at the moment as Cummins runs in, goes short and hits KS Bharat on the shoulder. And the ball balloons back to Cummins. He may have just clipped his helmet as well, and they're going to have to do a concussion check as a result. Looks to be okay, KS Bharat, just examining his helmet at the moment. I think it was on the side of the grill.
Yeah,
pretty painful.
I'll tell you what I haven't seen before is a bowler catching the ball on the full off the helmet. Pat Cummins barely had to break stride in his follow-through. He caught the ball straight off the helmet. Bharat we're just looking at a replay now, but it just looked like he ducked. He tried to duck under it. He turned his head away from it, and really nasty one. I'm just laughing at Pat Cummins catching that off the grill of the helmet. He got himself, Bharat, into a really kind of nasty position. He's batting well outside his crease, so it's not easy facing someone bowling 140 k's an hour, and I think he's going to need a new helmet for long.
Well, the TV replay is showing us the ultra edge there as it smashed into his helmet. There was a clomp. Yeah,
just confirm that for us, would you, ultra? Yeah, yep, it's hit him on the helmet.
Pretty big impact, and it's actually interesting. The Indian physio has run on the pitch. He's having to do the concussion check. Ravi Ashwin with a couple of drinks for both the batters out there, and the physio spent a good couple of minutes just examining Rughani's helmet, Bharat's helmet, before actually seeing to him and going through the concussion checks as well. So it shows you that Bharat is okay. I think the concern is about the helmet and whether or not he'll need a new one. Yeah. New selection being brought out, actually. Three spare helmets. How does that work these days, I wonder, with, we know batters carry 6 or 7 bats at times, but helmets, surely they just have a batch of spare ones for the team, I would have thought. But then you're getting into the things where they're sponsored by different helmet manufacturers as well.
The amount of kit that these international cricket teams carry around is enormous, and part of the reason would be, I imagine there's just a big bag full of helmets that they have in case someone gets hit and needs a new one, and they've had to dig into that bag.
Well, he's got the new lid on, and he seems to be okay. So the physio alongside Ashwin and Unadgut making their way back off. Not in any great rush to leave the field. Cummins will begin again. Steve Smith bringing up his 157th catch for Australia. He's third on the all-time list now, alongside Mark Taylor, Mark Waugh on 181, and Ricky Ponting on 196, way out in front. Cummins into Bharat again, who's well forward in defence. You can hear the shouting from those corporate boxes alongside us as well. Every defensive shot cheered as well. End of another over. India 5 for 184.
I like to call it a passion. I can be sitting relaxing. I'm spending this holiday locked in. Back then wasn't worried about me though. In the gym trying to work on my free throw. What's poppin'? Brand new whip, just hopped in.
The new Kia Seltos. That's what's poppin'. And yeah, it's got options. The new Kia Seltos. The word is out.
Brand new whip, just hopped in.
Kia. Movement that inspires.
SEN Test Cricket live here for Maccas. Here's to 30 years of McCafe. Nikesh Rughani alongside Louis Cameron and Phil Long.
Louis Cameron mentioned early on in this test that he thought this test might have been lost on the way India bowled on the first day. You start to look at the scores and maybe think that 250, 300 is the par. That score of 469, a bit of an outlier.
Bowling to continue here into Rughani, who's gets one that jacks back in at him. He's hit in the midriff and ball thuds away into the leg side. Yeah, 469. The Indians did win the toss, of course. They had those conditions in their favour early on. There was cloud cover. It was pretty cool, and the ball was all set up to swing around. They created some opportunities, half chances in that passage of play early on. They had Australia 3 for 76. And that was when Steve Smith came to the crease. He was not looking his usual positive self, looking to bat time, get stuck in. But it was the way Travis Head played that changed the game.
And such fine margins, isn't it? I mean, if they'd been able to nip out Head and Smith early, I mean, that score could have been 200 runs fewer.
Boland bustles in again. Rughani's leaning back and cutting away, but it's well fielded there by Labuschagne at backward point to prevent the single. Labuschagne with a direct hit at the non-striker's end as well. KS Bharat was a little way down the track, but got back home in time. Scott Boland, how well has he bowled? 3 for 44. And so difficult to score off. I think that's been the key, really. You look at Pat Cummins at the other end going at over 4 runs and over, like we were talking about in the build-up to this, across both innings, really. But it's been that control that Boland has given them.
It's just a remarkable story. A guy who probably thought he'd never get his chance in Test cricket. He played a few one-dayers in 2016, but it looked for all, for all measures that he was going to be a shield battler who never got his chance, and, just a good domestic bowler. But, now he's leading Australia's attack in a World Test Championship final. It's a remarkable story at the age of 34.
Boland, and again to Rughani. Big shout for LBW. Boland likes it. Carey likes it. Umpire says no. And are they going to go upstairs here? You can hear the discussions on the stump mic there. They were talking about him being pretty deep in his crease, Rughani, and I think that was the issue. They have reviewed. They've gone upstairs for the review. Our reviews in association with IMAR Insurance. The tradies mate, call 13 IMAR.
Decision is not out. Front foot checked. It's a fair delivery. Front on spin vision, please, when available.
Top. They're the tradies mate. That's IMAR.
So, looking at the replay now, and the ball nips back in. Well, you can see Midland off stump, kind of exposed. It hits Rughani quite high up, above the knee, or almost above the flap of the pad, actually. There's no inside edge on it, so we're just looking at the ultra edge, right at the top of the flap of that right pad.
The Australians don't think this is out. They're already walking back to their places in the field. We're looking at the ball tracking here. I think it's going to show it's going way over the top of leg side.
Yeah. Down leg side, height an issue as well. Not a good review. So not out is confirmed by Richard Kettleborough. That'll make him feel better. Nice easy one for the third umpire after all the controversy yesterday.
I hope he doesn't have his social media feeds turned on, Richard Kettleborough. It was certainly a controversial one yesterday with Cameron Green, and plenty of people made their opinions known, but he's an excellent umpire. I think he did the right thing there.
Boland into Rughani again, who's forward defending at this one out towards point, and there is no run. Yeah, look, it was all down to interpretation, really. Was he in control of the ball? The fingers were clearly underneath the ball. It was just, did he at any point lose control of the ball? And I think, it was fair enough from my point of view. And we've played the game to a certain level. Of course, you've played professionally. You kind of know that when you're watching it in a slow motion replay, it's a 2D picture, basically. It's 2D images you're seeing of a 3D event. And it's very difficult to get your fingers under the ball, take it, then not have your fingers under the ball, then get them back in a split second. Rughani flicking into the gap there at mid-wicket for a single. That's well run. It's just, a lot of people were saying he was down, he had the ball, he was down, he grasped the ball, and then in the next frame his fingers were underneath it, but they weren't. You can't do that. In a split second, you cannot do that. So fingers were always underneath the ball. And I think it was just a brilliant effort from him to A, get down that far and actually get a hand to it, and B, keep his fingers around the ball and not let his impact into the ground, let the ball pop out.
And I think the angle that Shubman Gill tweeted and that got a lot of people up and about was a bit misleading, because the wicket square stands a lot higher than the grass that Green was standing on.
Boland in for the final ball of the over. It's an inside edge from Bharat out towards mid-wicket. Gets a single to finish off another Scott Boland over. Another tidy one from him. Australia still requiring those 5 wickets for victory. India 5 for 186.
There's savings on everything from headaches to hay fever, only at Chemist Warehouse. Like buy a Revive Mouth Ulcer Relief 8 capsules, $10.69. Betadine Chesty Fort 200ml is only $10.99. For pain, try Advil Minis 90 liquid capsules, $16.99. And Zyrtec Rapid Hay Fever Relief 70 tablets, only $34.99. Chemist Warehouse, great savings every day.
Change in bowling at the Vauxhall end as Cameron Green enters the attack, replacing Pat Cummins. A few boos ringing around the stands here at the Oval. I'm sure there would have been a few more if the Indian fans had their spirits a little bit higher, as they did early on today. They've kind of been deflated with the loss of those 2 wickets. Virat Kohli, of course, the big one, and then Jadeja lasting just the 2 deliveries himself. But it is Green in to start his third over of the innings. In he comes and starts with a short one. Bharat ducks out of the way of that.
Only slight negative for Australia this morning. They'll be obviously absolutely delighted after 50 minutes play. They have burned 2 of their reviews. They've got 1 left now.
Yes, and India with the 2 remaining in their second innings as well. You never know. Could come in handy. Now, I'm surprised we haven't heard the drums, actually. We've talked about rain dances, and Bharat and I were talking about the film Lagan, Bollywood film based around cricket, where they were summoning the rains with the beating of a drum. The screen is in to Bharat, who's forward defending this one well. They could do with a bit of that now. It's still not cloudy as such. There's a thin layer of cloud up above, plenty of blue skies as well, but just getting a little bit muggier, isn't it? You can feel the humidity in the air. You look over into the distance, way over to our right. It still looks pretty bright, but lots more cloud cover over there. There's just no great breeze, really. So if we are to get any storms, they're not going to come anytime soon. Green is in once more, and this is another good delivery on off stump. Well defended by Bharat. Back down the pitch. 5 for 186 India. SEN Test cricket for McCafe, celebrating 30 years of coffee fit for an Aussie.
My first ever Ashes test was the 98-99 test in Brisbane. I don't know if you remember that. It ended on the last day with the storm to end all storms. It was like night time. It was absolutely incredible. I don't think we'll get that today, but
Indian fans will be praying for that. As Green bustles in again, beats the outside edge of Bharat. Just has a poke at one outside off stump. On the move as well, just walking towards the ball, really. Doesn't appear to be in any great shape as far as his confidence is concerned. Was one of the Indian players involved in the IPL, but didn't actually play for the Gujarat Titans, who made the final. So bench warming, really, just batting in the nets against the white ball for the last couple of months. Has had very little cricket out there in the middle, and as we said, hasn't had a great start to his test career with the bat. To his 5th match, just averaging 18. This one bounces a little bit extra. He negotiates it well, flicks it round the corner. Bharat down to his short fine leg, gets a single off the glove, I think that was, and just examining his wrist there just to make sure there's no damage done. He's taken a couple of blows today already. One in the helmet, one in the gloves.
Yeah, and interesting to see Green has come on as the first change bowler, this morning, given the ball ahead of Mitchell Starc. Just see Mitchell Starc warming up. I reckon he'll be bowling from the pavilion end. It looked like before he just indicated to Pat Cummins and said, yeah, I'd rather bowl from the end Scott Boland's coming from. So whether it's this over coming or the one after, I think you'll see Starc on pretty soon.
Green and bustles in final ball of his over, is left alone by Rughani, and that one skids through, actually. Alex Carey taking it on the bounce in the end. So the variable bounce just starting to come back into play once again, with India 5 for 187.
Beaumont Tiles is proudly sponsoring Test Cricket's World Cup final by hitting a 6 with their massive bathroomware catalogue sale. How's this? Vanities, basins, baths, loos and even tapware are all slashed by up to 25% off. Plus, get up to 25% off all tiles. That's another 6 for Beaumont's. Head into one of over 110 stores around the country and save up to 25% on bathroomware and tiles. You'll be happy you chose Australia's #1 Beaumont Tiles.
Change of bowling from the pavilion end as Mitchell Starc comes into the attack, replacing Scott Boland, who's had a great morning so far, Phil.
Yeah, 5 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 8.
Wow. Remarkable spell, given Australia just looked like, Ricky Ponting, some of the broadcast this morning, that the Aussies hadn't been happy with the ball they had last night. They didn't think it was doing enough. The sun was out and the pitch wasn't going up and down like it had been previously, but whatever Scott Boland got going with that ball was pretty special. The big question for Australia now is, does he play the first test against England?
He's made a brilliant case for it so far. It's a long old summer, though. 5 test matches to come up in the Ashes. Starc round the wicket here into Bharat, who's forward and defending out towards extra cover for no run. It's exactly what Australia needed this morning as well. They needed to remove one of Kohli or Rughani early on, ideally Kohli, Because if there is a man you want in a run chase, I know we relate this more to ODI cricket, to T20I cricket, the white ball stuff, but run chases are run chases at the end of the day, and there's nobody who does it better than Virat Kohli.
And just the way he was stalking the pitch this morning, he just looked so in the game. And you're right, Nikesh. When he's got a target in front of him, he certainly bats better, red ball or white ball.
Stark in again, goes forward to Bharat, who just flicks away out towards square leg. There's a gap there, so they should get a comfortable 2. They do. They are still cheering every run. They're cheering every forward defensive as well from the Indians here. I think the expectations may have gone down from outside chance for victory while Kohli was there. Those 2 wickets falling, and maybe they just think if they can get through to lunch, and how beyond lunch with these 2 still there, the rains might come in, anything can happen.
Yeah, anything. I'm not sure. Draw. I think you're talking about the rain before, whether there's some thunderstorms. That buys them a bit of time. Difficult to see where the runs are going to come from now that Kohli's out.
Indeed, Australia 5 wickets away from becoming world champions. Stark is into Bharat again, who's off the back foot defending this one. He's looked a little bit more assured in the last couple of overs, despite being hit on the gloves with one that rose from a length. I'm just seeing Kohli's 2 dismissals actually across both innings. Both very good catches, it has to be said, by Steve Smith. Slip, the first one leaping up over his head, this one diving away down to his right. The first delivery from Mitchell Stark, who got him in the first innings, that was almost unplayable. He'll be disappointed with how he got out today, just trying to throw his hands at one wide of the off stump. Stark then delivers, and this is guided down towards third man by Bharat. Just the single Nathan Lyon swooping on the ball down there. We were talking about Nathan Lyon coming into the game perhaps later on. At this stage they don't look like they need him. The seamer's doing the business so far.
Yeah, you think he'd really come into his own on this final day with pitch just wearing away. We're seeing a lot of dust being cleared away from the crease marks. When Scott Boland was coming on, he was kind of kicking away the dust, where he'd be landing. You'd think there'd be some similar kind of dust near where the footmarks are, and it was something that Mitchell Stark and Pat Cummins, I reckon, really struggled from that pavilion end, was their footwork and landing on their crease. It looked like it was just slipping a little bit, so that will only help Nathan Lyon.
Stark into Rughani this time, who plays a nice defensive shot into the leg side. And with the crowd generally being a lot more quiet, you're probably picking up on our effects mic, the solitary clap from the gentleman to our right. Lots of empty seats in front of his corporate box. There are a few people sort of milling about inside the box. He looks set for the day, though. He's taken his shoes off now. He's gone barefooted. Shades are off as the sort of thin cloud comes over. He's got a smile on his face, which is good to see, though. Clapping every forward defensive, every run. A few more Australian flags as well in the crowd, and some inflatable kangaroos as Stark completes the over with a short delivery. Rughani negotiates that one safely. So Mitchell Stark back into the attack. 3 runs from his first over of this spell, and India now 5 for 190.
Bigger battle in the mini money and flower. You're the chosen one. Pick your favourite Kia. From the award-winning Kia Sportage to the street cred delivering Kia Seltos, or Kia's most powerful car ever, the all-electric EV6 GT. Book a test drive today to find your chosen one. Find out more at kia.com.au or drop into your nearest Kia dealer.
Kia, movement that inspires.
SEN Test cricket for Maccas. Here's to 30 years of McCafe. And nearly an hour played so far today. Coming into the day, India had such high hopes of potentially getting somewhere close to that mammoth target, that world record target of 444. The loss of Virat Kohli and Ravi Jadeja within 2 balls of each other has put paid to that. This one rises, and KS Bharat didn't know too much about that. It was just short of a length, that one from Cameron Green. Absolute beauty, almost catching the shoulder of the bat or the glove, and Let's take another look at this replay with tyre power. End of financial year sale. It swung away as well. It rose from a length. And KS Bharat just thankful his bat was nowhere near it.
You just occasionally go, what has Australia got in their hands with this guy? A guy who bats in the top 6, takes ridiculous catches in the gully and bowls balls like that.
Green goes fuller this time, and it's flicked away into the leg side by Bharat for no run.
It's actually not occasionally for me. I do it maybe every over he bowls. It's just extraordinary what kind of cricketer this guy could be. He's been centre of attention in this test for, maybe some of the wrong reasons, but the whole package is remarkable.
Cameron Green, Shubman Gill, both involved in that incident yesterday. The future of Test cricket, aren't they? I think we'll be hearing a lot about them for the years to come.
Should be many more battles between the two. And these two sides as Green is into Bharat again, just knocks it away to mid-on for no run. But having said that, on the flip side, you look at both of these sides, and in 2 years' time, were these two sides to meet again in this type of match, how many would still be involved? You've got Rohit Sharma, 36, Kohli, 34, Ajinkya Rahane of a similar age as well. Ashwin perhaps wouldn't be involved in the India squad. From an Australian point of view, Steve Smith, how long has he got left? As Green is in, and this one is flicked to short leg. I think it's off the thigh pad. There was a bit of an appeal there from Cameron Green. I'm not sure if Travis Head took that cleanly or not. It's a good effort diving away down low to his right. The odd things starting to happen. So yeah, age an issue on the flip side. Nathan Lyon, of course, there's one or two others. Let's take another look at this now. Head putting that opportunity down. Good effort though.
I think it was off the pad, and it would have been going well down leg for an LBW shout. So just good effort from Travis Head to get a hand on that, actually. Yeah, but Australia would need 2 new openers for a start in 2 years' time. I don't think David Warner David Warner definitely won't be going around, and Usman Khawaja the same.
Green is in. This is full. It's driven square and driven well all the way to the boundary for 4. There you go. They've woken up a bit, the India fans. The flags are waving again. They're on their feet. They haven't had much to cheer about in the last half an hour or so. Cameron Green just giving a touch of width outside that off stump. He was driving on the up there. Beats Nathan Lyon there at backward point to bring up his first boundary.
He's not the easiest man to cover drive, Cameron Green, but KS Bharat, beautiful shot really. I mean, it's there's a lot of steepling bounce when Green's bowling, and he got right on the front foot and put it through point.
Yeah, just the third 4 of the morning, arguably the only convincing one we've had so far.
Green then tries once more, goes even fuller this time. It's driven to extra cover. Cummins with a bit of a fumble allows the batters through for a comfortable single. More huge cheers from the India fans as they negotiate that little passage of play after the loss of those 2 wickets. So we've had an hour of play so far today. Drinks are coming onto the field, and following this drinks interval there'll be a change in commentary with Adam Collins replacing me. India then on the Beaumont scoreboard. Beaumont Tiles huge sale, 5 for 195.
Beaumont Tiles is proudly sponsoring Test Cricket's World Cup final, and I'd like to bowl you over with these Beaumont bargains. Coming at us at top speed is their monster bathroom wear catalogue sale, packed with everything at up to 25% off. Vanities, baths, shower screens, and even the kitchen sink, and yes, up to 25% off Australia's biggest tile range. Well, that's bowled me over, up to 25% off all bathroom wear and tiles. You'll be happy you chose Australia's #1 Beaumont Tiles.
Beaumont Tiles is proudly sponsoring Test Cricket's World Cup final by hitting a 6 with their massive bathroom wear catalogue sale. How's this? Vanities, basins, baths, loos, and even tapware are all slashed by up to 25% off. Plus, yes, get up to 25% off all tiles. That's another 6 for Beaumont. Head into one of over 110 stores around the country and save up to 25% on bathroom wear and tiles. You'll be happy you chose Australia's #1, Beaumont Tiles. Hi, I'm Bharat Sundaresan. The Henley sale event is on now, but must end soon. You'll enjoy savings on every home where luxuries are standard. Henley, backed by a $7 billion parent company. Build on something solid. Visit henley.com.au today.
Macca's OG McSpicy. Juicy chicken covered in a crispy, mouth-wateringly spicy coating. It's the McSpicy that started it all. Order at Macca's today. Available after 10:30 a.m.
It's what Virat Kohli thinking. I've been saying all morning. He seems to be concentrating on coming forward for everything.
No inch given, just 15 runs scored in half an hour this morning. Boland up, Kohli on 49. It's a taken! Stephen Smith at second slip. Dives across. It's a screamer. Boland here, Jadeja's second ball. It's as well! Boland gets 2 in 3 balls. Jadeja caught behind for a second ball duck. Australia on a roll. Scott Boland the star. India 5 for 179. They are working them over. What an over that was from Scott Boland to put Australia in the box seat in this World Test Championship final. Final day of it here at the Kia Oval for Macca's. Here's the 30 years of the McCafe. Virat Kohli caught it second slip by Smith. Across to his right, made an art form of that. From the bowling of Boland for 49, and then 2 deliveries later, he picks up Jadeja around the wicket with an absolute beauty. Kiss through to Carey, second ball duck, 2 wickets falling with the score on 179. This pair, KS Bharat and Ajinkya Rahane, have added 16 thereafter across a quieter half an hour. But Australia, 5 wickets from victory. India, far less likely than they were this morning. 249 needed to win. Adam Collins now again with you. Harsha Bhogle joins me. Good morning.
Good morning. Scott Boland has won the World Test Championship final for Australia. And I'm not belittling Ajinkya Rahane or Shardul Thakur or Kona Bharat. 249 is a lot of runs. And I think it was just that outside edge of Virat Kohli who hardly put a foot wrong right through that innings. And I'm telling you, that catch, you just cannot keep Steve Smith out of the game. And I was watching it behind a glass, but you're watching it right in front for you. The view of that catch must have been stunning.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was good to call, put it that way, because we're right behind Smith, saw the dive and saw it stick, and a bit of magic from the vice-captain. Here's Stark, round the wicket, pavilion end, first ball of the new hour down the leg side. KS Bharat doesn't catch up with it. Carey does well away to his left. And remember, it was 2 balls after Smith and Labuschagne conspired to burn a review. Now, maybe that added to the pressure. Bharat had a nice little theory going there that sometimes, you know, using a review in a situation like that can help build pressure. However, of course, Australia did fall the wrong side of a review on the final day at Headingley in 19, and that might have been on their minds as well. They have burnt 2 inside the first hour, I should say, but yes, that pressure was building. Kohli adding only 5 runs to his overnight score. That first half an hour, just 15 runs from it. Boland and Cummins doing everything right and getting the rewards. Here's Stark. Can he get in the book? 9th over, but expensive so far. KS Bharat off leg stump, down towards deep backward square. To the Australian hero, Scotty Boland. 5 for 196, Bharat 15. Scott Boland, I mean, you've been doing this for a really long time, Harsha. You've been around the world on many laps, Test Series, World Cups and all the rest of it. His story to come into Test cricket the way that he did, unexpectedly, that debut of 6 for 7, that astonishing first summer against England. But when the book is eventually written, it'll be scarcely believable, some parts of it, including today.
You know, I'm just looking at this tea mug that Phil Long has got Yeti written on it. Yeti is, some people believe it doesn't exist, but it's this mythical creature.
Rahane back on strike by Stark. He goes straight down the pitch and defends.
In his short career so far, Scott Boland has figures in the second innings especially that could come straight out of mythology. He's got 22 wickets at an average of 8. 8. The 8 average was what you got in inter-school cricket. Inter-school cricket, when you were the champion side and you're playing your first 3 rounds against schools that could scarcely put up a team. An average of 8. This is international cricket against some of the best players in the world. Second innings, 8.
Really is
mythical.
Proof positive to every professional cricketer. Never give up. Stark bowls to Rahane. He's 31 and he drives down the ground. An off drive to die for. Rahane won't quit. He's on 35. He's batted delightfully. India bring up their 200. 5 for 200, even. Rughani's 5th for.
What a morning it's been. We've seen Boland, we've seen a catch for the ages, but if you want to see one thing from a batting perspective, see that shot, because that was perfection just there. Beautiful balance, just straight, the bat coming down, what did they say, like a pendulum. Beautiful, just meeting it right under his eyes. It is, if you're a lover of cricket, gee, that was a work of art.
Rughani looks a Test cricketer reborn over the last few days.
Yep.
18 months in the international wilderness, but back in business here. 2 slips of gully. Stark to Rughani off the hip. Easy single down the deep backward square. Collected by Travis Head. 5 for 201. Rughani 36.
When you're down is when your character and humility come to the fore. These are words that sometimes in your machismo you sometimes ignore. Character, humility. And humility is not saying, I'm not good enough. Humility is saying, right, I'm out. I will go through the grind in first-class cricket. I'll go to the smaller venues. I'll go with a team that plays at a very different level to the one I've played at. I'll mingle with them, and I will fight my way back up and earn the right to be back here.
Stark to Bharat. He defends. Right behind it as well. And to cover. That will complete Stark's over. 6 runs coming from it. India 5 for 201 on the Beaumont scoreboard. Beaumont Tiles, huge sale there. 243 from their finish line with Bharat 15 and Rughani 36.
The Cheese and Bacon McSpicy is back. Juicy chicken covered in a crispy, spicy coating. Plus cheese and sizzling bacon. Order the Cheese and Bacon McSpicy at Macca's today. Available after 10:30 a.m. for a limited time.
Stay on the ball while you're on the road. The SEN app is now available on Apple CarPlay, so you can keep up with all the big moments, expert commentary, and the latest news. When it happens in sport, SEN has you covered. Find the SEN app on Apple CarPlay.
This crucial session at the Oval has been brought to you by Drinkwise. Remember, if you're drinking to Drinkwise, yes, the Boland all up has now taken 33 Test wickets at 14.5. This is 8th match. Green, 2 slips of gully, delivers here, and Rughani again on the drive, but straight to Pat Cummins at mid-off. Nothing wrong with the shot. The consensus was that, well, like with anybody, his average will end up at 20-something, 30-something, because that's what happens to Test cricketers. But we've seen no evidence of that. He just keeps taking wickets.
You know, in the context of this final, maybe Australia too far ahead. And yet there's 2 little things that I'd urge you to keep an eye on from the point of view of what lies ahead. From India's perspective, KS Bharat at the non-strikers in. Can he grit his way through to a half-century, say?
Green bowls, Rughani flicks to Boland a bit on no run.
And earn himself a few more games to prove that he should be India's #1 keeper. Till such time as Rishabh Pant is back, and we're hoping desperately that Rishabh Pant is back. In the more immediate context, there's a spell from Mitch Stark. He's looked completely out of rhythm, and Australia desperately need him to keep bowling to get back into rhythm before that first Ashes Test match that is literally round the corner.
It's a great point. 2 out for the short ball when Green goes there to Rughani. There it is, leaves it go. He sways out the way because, you know, no tour games on the way in. Mentioned to Bharat before that, spoke to Steve Finn last night, former England quick, and he's like, you can't go from playing 4-over cricket to Test cricket as a quick without there being a really crude sort of transition. If you don't play anything in between, and Stark's done that. Not to say he hasn't put the work in behind the scenes. Of course he has. He's a diligent professional, but there is something different playing and the rhythm of going to your fielding positions and being out in the field for hour after hour and all the rest.
Has he played a lot of 4-over cricket?
Well, for him, it's not much cricket at all. Green bowls and going back is Rughani into the offside, no runner. I suppose the broader point is that what you're describing there, Stark getting overs in the legs and somehow finding some rhythm will be so important when we go to Birmingham in 5 days from now.
And it begs the question for all you Aussie fans listening in, would you almost consider going into that first Test match if Mitch Stark doesn't seem ready enough with Cummins, Hazelwood and Boland?
I can see that. I can see that happening. I think it's an outside chance. Green up, 4 dots so far in the over. Turning to the onside by Rughani. Just wide of Boland a bit on, so they get through for 1. 37 for him, 5 for 202 India. A reminder their target's 404, 1 left in the 54th over. And the outsider would be whether they consider Michael Nisa, who's now in the squad for next week. But that's, at the moment, doesn't quite feel like it's part of the conversation. But Nisa, sort of more your Terry Alderman style bowler, who was so effective in England in 81 and 89. So Green gets one crack at KS Bharat to finish his over. He's been the more active of the two in this partnership so far. Short leg. 2 out for the short one.
Has the dust settled on the catch yesterday?
I think so. I think the stuff you had on television this morning's helped a lot with Simon Tarfel. Here's Green to finish the over. Bowls here. Short again. Quick as well to carry. Bharat swayed the head out the way. On the Beaumont scoreboard, Beaumont Tiles, huge sale on now. India 5 for 202. Bharat's 15 and Rughani's 37.
Kia EV6 GT. A sleek, pure electric supercar. Enjoy your flight. The Kia EV6 GT.
Kia, movement that inspires.
Our delivery of the day for Macca's, Auto via McDelivery on the My Macca's app was Scott Boland. Take your pick. I think it was the one to Jadeja. I think that was the better of the balls. Around the wicket, angling in, swinging away just enough.
There was a theory in our commentary box that that ball was meant to come in and Jadeja was almost forced to play. It just hit the deck and nipped off.
All eyes on Mitchell Starc to Rughani. Pavilion end, round the wicket. Start of his 10th over. Bowls here, Rughani. Drive down to ground again. Twice in 2 overs. Gee, he's such an attractive player on the front foot. Rughani into the 40s. 5 for 206. 2:38 to go. We thought it would have to be Kohli, and in all probability, it was going to have to be Kohli. But Rughani has character, has shots, back in business big time.
Absolutely. If you had one word, if you asked me to define Ajinkya Rughani in one word, it would be character. Just a perfectly decent human being who works very, very hard. It's good to see such people do well.
Starc in, delivers. Rughani defends out towards mid-wicket. We're not far away from getting Ravi Shastri in as well. In 10 minutes, Ravi's going to join us. Got the hat on. Yeah, 10 minutes is fine. No worries. Whatever you want. 10 minutes is fine. Whatever you want.
The word Ajinkya.
Ravi's going to jump in now. Yes, Phil, jump downstairs, please, mate. We'll let Ravi in.
The word Ajinkya has its roots in Sanskrit. In Marathi, it means invincible. And while you don't control where your career is going, it's not been the greatest career in the history of the world, but one thing has always stood out with Rughani, that within what he has, that invincibility, that belief always comes through. And you can only control what you can do. So I am absolutely overjoyed to see Ajinkya Rughani bat the way he is. He isn't putting a foot wrong, but I'm not going to go too much further, Adam Collins, because Virat Kohli wasn't putting a foot wrong.
No. Quite right. Here is Starc. One man out of the cordon now, and Rughani square drive straight to Labuschagne at cover point. Good morning to Ravi Shastri as well.
Morning, Adam. What a morning session this has been. And Scott Boland, I mean, he cult hero in Australia. I mean, he's a star. The way he set up Virat Kohli there was quite amazing. And talking of Ajinkya Rughani, I haven't seen him bat better. He batted like this at the MCG to get 100. The trigger movement is spot on. He has time on his hands to move forward or back after that trigger movement. And no one's played the ball later than him in this test match.
So Starc's bowling to Rughani. He's faced 100 deliveries for his 41. Make that 101 with a defensive push out to mid-off.
We had on television, we were showing the contact points. And for Ajinkya Rughani, they're all right below his eyes. It reminds me of that tweet that I mentioned, I think, on day 2 from A.B. de Villiers. And he says he's never seen Ajinkya Rughani move so well. I mean, just to put things in perspective, he's still batting only 41. He's not batting 182. So it's a long, long way to go. But it's just the approach is looking so good, so assured. And it brings up a whole debate on T20 versus Test match cricket. Everyone says, oh, T20, it's bad for you. I don't know if T20 has made him a better batter.
It's liberated him. It's made him move earlier. It's made him wanting to play shots.
Stark to Rughani, the man we're discussing, defending down the pitch.
It's got him out of his comfort zone. And it's helping him in Test cricket. This could reinvent his Test career.
It should do, shouldn't it? I mean,
absolutely.
I appreciate and understand why he was left out 18 months ago. It makes sense now.
I think he does too.
The rut. But as you pointed out through the week, Harsha, it's the humility of going back and rebuilding a career that looked gone. There was never any doubt about his ability to do it. But the fact that he's changed the contact point, right? Like, that is a notable difference in the data they collect.
I also think it's a confidence thing. I mean, I never played cricket at that level, but I'd imagine it's a confidence thing to be able to play that late, not reach out to the ball.
Stark completes his 10th over here, conceded 58 runs, stays at 58. Rughani again forward to defend out the middle of the bat on the Beaumont Tiles scoreboard. Beaumont Tiles, huge sail on now. 4 runs coming from it. 5 for 206. Bharat's 15. Rughani's 41.
Beaumont Tiles is proudly sponsoring Test Cricket's World Cup Final, and I'd like to bowl you over with these Beaumont bargains. Coming at us at top speed is their monster bathroom wear catalogue sale, packed with everything at up to 25% off. Vanities, baths, shower screens, even the kitchen sink. And yes, up to 25% off Australia's biggest tile range. Well, that's bowled me over. Up to 25% of all bathroom wear and tiles. You'll be happy you chose Australia's #1, Beaumont Tiles.
Our Macca's I'm Loving It moment. It's a new season for the McSpicy range at Macca's was without a doubt Virat Kohli's dismissal on 49, set up by Boland. The review a couple of deliveries before Boland was all over him. Nathan Lyon now gets an opportunity in this morning's session. Only bowled 11 overs, 4 in the first innings, so he's not been used a lot, but we know on 5th days he's gotten better and better throughout his career.
Launch a nice new red from the Yarra Valley called Boland Wines. It's what you expect to deliver. But here's something interesting about both Rughani and Scott Boland. There's a lot of similarity in the characters between them. Scott Boland gets a chance because Josh Hazelwood is not yet ready. He seizes it. Ajinkya Rahane gets a chance because maybe no Rishabh Pant, no KL Rahul. There's a position that opens up, no Shreyas Iyer. It's what you do when you get that opportunity. Gentleman sitting next to me, I remember many years ago. Suddenly there's no Dilip Doshi, a left-hander is called out.
Lions first ball of the day to KS Bharat, goes back in defence.
And he's making the journey from where? From Mumbai to New Zealand.
Kanpur to New Zealand.
From Kanpur to New Zealand. It's what you do when you get the opportunity that counts.
It's the story of my life, Harsha. When the opening batsman disappeared, I got the opportunity. I grabbed it with both hands. When there was no coach, I got the opportunity. I grabbed it with both hands.
Line bowl, second ball, well forward in defence is Bharat.
When they're searching for commentators, when there weren't any around, I grabbed it with both hands.
Yeah, but
you've got to grab opportunities, man, when you get it.
Just stay away from anchors, Ravi. I want to be around for a little longer.
This is Lyon wheeling away from our Vauxhall in the broadcast end. There's Bharat's on 15. He goes back and turns him out towards deep square leg for 1. He's 16, 5 for 208. Lyon picked up the wicket of Rohit Sharma yesterday. Sweeping Lyon round the wicket is not a good play these days. I just hope that they're alert to this.
Yeah. It's a gutsy little innings from KS Bharat as well after copping it on the helmet. He's been assured.
So Lyon will get a crack here at Rughani. 2 men that have played so much cricket against each other. Multiple series. Slipping a short leg. Lyon round the wicket. Rughani goes back and places him through point. No sweeper in that direction. Into the rope in front of the Peter May stand. Rughani up to 45. 5 for 211. You can't drop short to him in a mood like this.
Yes, and a full house here today. They're getting something to cheer. They went all silent when Kohli and Jadeja were dismissed. Now suddenly some voices in the crowd. The flags are up.
Ravi, there's something dramatic about the front foot shots, right? The front foot drive, the 2 he played of Stark. How good was this one? Just a little step back, shorten the length, and it's just as dramatic, and now man's going out into the deep.
It just shows how good his short his footwork is, front or back foot, the way he's moving.
So a deep cover, change in field, Lyon stays round the wicket. Going back is Rughani, whipping, but only to Travis Hare, that wide bit on, no single. So Rughani just moving through the gears. 3 boundaries in the last 3 overs. Can he be there at lunch? Can he be 50-something at lunch? Can he give India the right to believe a little bit again. They can't lose another before the break, that's for sure. Line delivers, Rughani out to deep point. Good batting. Boundary the first time, single the second time. He's 46, 5 for 212. That completes the line over as well. On the Beaumont Tiles scoreboard, India 5 for 212. Bharat 16, Rughani 46, and the target's 444.
I'm going to go to the toilet and grab some more beers. Pause it for me?
No way, mate. We're not pausing live sport. If he kicks this, we're in front.
Nah, it'll be all right. Oh, what? Oh, no! Did I miss it? Come on, mate. You got to rewind it, please.
Oh, not a chance, mate. You can catch it on the highlights reel.
You won't miss a moment if you drink wise.
SEN Test Cricket for Maccas. Here's the 30 years of the McCafe and this session for Drinkwise. Remember, if you're drinking to Drinkwise, I've got Harsha, Bhogle and Ravi, Shastri with me. A privilege to have you both with us on our coverage, both in India earlier this year and for the World Test Championship final. Before I lose Harsha in an over or so, we have to go back to the catch yesterday. You get to have your say this morning. I think it's right that you do, prompting great debate on our airwaves yesterday. Stark, his 11th over here, bolster Rughani on 46, defending into the onside. We saw some information this morning that Pete Lalor and Bharat discussed from the ICC, or their ICC manual via Simon Taufel, which went into a little bit more depth for how elite umpires interpret Law 33. Your thoughts on how it's been, the conversations advanced this morning?
I don't think there was ever any doubt about whether or not the catch was taken clean. I know there's some doubt about whether the ball touching a blade of grass, does it constitute touching the ground if it's touching just a blade of grass? I'm really not worried about that. I thought his fingers were underneath, he took the catch. My issue was with the interpretation of what followed.
Stark to Rughani, plays and misses as the edge, and he does! Mitchell Stark gets in on the act, and just when Ajinkya Rughani was giving Indian fans something to believe for again, he wafts at one, he throws his head back in dismay, and with that, any hope that India have is surely gone. 6 for 212. Mitchell Stark, who's gone around today, around the wicket, maybe a little bit of reverse swing, a booming drive, not to be, taken by Carey, gone for 46. Ravi Shastri.
He's gutted. He is holding his head in disbelief. He just can't believe after concentrating so hard, he's gone for one so wide to hit on the up. So it's fabulous innings, a very good innings of 46, but he is gutted.
And just the way he threw his head back, he slapped his helmet. And I think, Ravi, for people like us, it just reminds us once again how difficult it is to concentrate ball after ball after ball. Occasionally, you will just have that little lapse, and I think that's what's happened. In the cruelty of the game is that little lapse is the one that's produced the outside. In Australia dropping absolutely nothing today, and from Australia's point of view, it's a big moment for Mitchell Stark, because he desperately needed that wicket to get back into rhythm. But sometimes you see moments of glory on a cricket ground, sometimes you see moments of pain and agony from a batter's point of view. You saw that just now.
And the response as well from the Aussie side. Stark, yeah, I agree with you. There's some relief there, isn't there? Celebrating another wicket for Tobin Brothers Funeral, celebrating lives as Shardul Thakur, who made 51 in the first innings, never failed to make 50 in a test innings here at the Oval, 3 from 3. Well, and there are plenty more where that has come from, if there any chance. But really now, Australia 4 wickets to win.
Yeah, and I'll just finish off that story.
Please, yes.
Because I wasn't concerned about whether the catch was clean. As he went on and fell, I thought part of the hand touched the ground and the ball made contact with the ground. The interpretation was, and that is what I was keen to find out, what is the interpretation of when the catch is in, a fielder is in control, when the catcher is in control of the ball. And I think that is the interpretation I sought. I spoke to Simon myself. I spoke to Simon. All right. I said, what is the interpretation of when the catcher is in control? He said that's something that the umpire interprets. In my view, in my eyes, was he in control? Richard Kettleborough is a very good umpire. He deemed it was in control. That is where the difference lay, not in whether the catch was clean or no. Okay,
Stark to Thakur, his first ball, it's full and straight from around the wicket and defended. So it's in the gift of the umpire interpreting it,
which is exactly what LBW was before DRS came in.
Yeah.
The umpire interpreted the situation as saying, I think it's going on to hit the stumps. You accepted that. You may not have liked it, but you accepted that.
Yes.
What happened yesterday, my interpretation was a little different, but I'm not the umpire. It doesn't matter what I think. I'm not the umpire. My interpretation was that he didn't seem to be in control, but the experienced umpire who earns a living doing that interpreted as saying he was in control, and that is what the issue was about, not whether the catch was cleanly taken.
Stark to Zach Kerr, who again is in behind it, perhaps jumping in as well. Our accredited umpire in SEN Test cricket. We're here for Maccas. Here's the 30 years of McCafe. Good afternoon, Baz.
Good afternoon, guys. But that's the buzzword. You attend any number of umpiring workshops or sessions, interpretation. That word, it gets repeated over and over again.
And I'll tell you what's happened, Bharat. It's because of DRS and the television cameras that we have started thinking that the television camera is God. Now, very often the microphone and the camera does play God, but on close catches, it cannot. It is not defined. It cannot happen.
Exactly right. Stark. The end bowls here. Taku leaves. I mean, as we sort of touched on earlier, if we want to be black and white about it, the law will need to change that you can't have hands on the ground when a catch is taken. That's the only conclusive way to get around this problem, because the camera angles will never be suitable in situations like that. So it does require interpretation. There's no way around it.
Yeah, and going back to technology, Harsha, it's also as the third umpire, as an experienced third umpire, you are in control of what replays you want to see and where you want the replay to stop. And I think that is very important for what happened yesterday.
And I'll tell you one other thing through working in television. The director cannot tell the third umpire, here is an angle for you. Because that way the director is determining the flow. The umpire...
Stark, wide of the crease to finish, and Taku just gets his bum out the way. So nothing there. There'll be a change in commentary after the break, with Nikesh jumping in for me. 6 for 212 is the score on the Beaumont scoreboard. Bharat 16, Taku yet to score.
Hi, I'm Bharat Sundaresan. The Henley sale event is on now, but must end soon. You'll enjoy savings on every home where luxuries are standard. Henley, backed by a $7 billion parent company. Build on something solid. Visit henley.com.au today.
McCafe is turning 30 this year. That's 3 decades of McCafe making the perfect coffee to go with your early mornings, sideline cheers, road trip stops, and long swigs squeezed into short breaks. So here's to 30 years of McCafe. Coffee fit for an Aussie.
SEN Test cricket for McCafe celebrating 30 years of coffee fit for an Aussie. Nathan Lyon into the attack then. Comes round the wicket here to KS Bharat, who's forward and defending at this one. Harsha, finish off.
Yeah, I'll just complete that story. Sometimes the television director is offered a lot of replays. He cannot tell the third umpire, or she cannot tell the third umpire, I'm seeing all this. Look, here's one that'll give you a better idea. Look, I think this one says it's not out. No, it is the angle that the third umpire wants. Sometimes...
Lyon in and Bharat is back defending.
The third umpire will say, do you have another angle? When he says, do you have another angle, then the director can offer the angles. But if the third umpire says, give me this, give me this, give me this, then the television director is duty bound to offer only that, even if he or she thinks there is a better angle.
Lyon continues, and Bharat is forward, pushing this into the gap just in front of point, takes the single.
It's only in those situations where the third umpire is in a way in control of the technology, right, Harsha, like you said. And also not just the angles, but where, like I said earlier, where you want the replay to stop. And if Richard Kettlebrough let it run over for 2 more frames, then it becomes inconclusive.
And also, so many times, Nikesh, we think that we could be third umpires too, because you're judging line calls, you're judging whatever. Yesterday was one of the very, very few situations where the third umpire's got to be an interpretative third umpire. He's got to use his knowledge of umpiring.
Lyon fires one in quicker, wraps him on the pads, Thakur, and is given. Umpire Illingworth put the finger up pretty quickly. Shardul Thakur looks down the track. Bharat jogs over to him. See if they're going to review, and he goes straight upstairs anyway. He may as well. He's the last batter in this lineup. And we'll take another look at this, but the Aussies fancied it straight away. Illingworth was convinced as well, and this could be India 7 wickets down, and with their backs completely against the walls now.
From round the wicket, it's always close, eh?
It is.
Round the wicket, it's always close.
And Nathan Lyon has made a habit of getting right-handers LBW from around the wicket in the last couple of years.
Let's look at the replay. It pitches on middle and off, turns back into him, hits him on the knee roll in front of middle stump.
Could we just confirm
he did get a bit of a stride in there, Thakur. don't think there's any inside edge on this. We'll just confirm that with Ultra Edge. Just looking at the technology now, and flat line.
No batting balls. We'll go to ball tracking when ready, please.
Yeah, ever since he started working on the side spin element of spin.
Ball pitches on off. Straightens, hits middle, and will be hitting middle. About 3/4 of the way up. So as plumb as you're going to get, really. And Richard Illingworth knew that straight away. Raised the finger, and will be doing so once again. There you go. So Shardul Thakur on his way. Australia now 3 wickets away from becoming World Test champions. You could almost hear a pin drop. There are some Aussie fans in here at the Oval. We've seen some inflatable kangaroos, a few Australian flags as well. The Indian fans not quite making their ways for the exits yet. They've paid a lot of money for the tickets. They may as well stay and enjoy the cricket, but
yeah, some of them are, Nikesh. Some of them are. You can see backpacks packing up or being packed up.
You won't eat the sandwiches you've packed and brought, haven't you? But do you eat them on the tube?
I don't know. Can't eat in motion, Harsha.
No, but I think India had them just a few tiny little moments today when till Virat Kohli got out, and those 3 boundaries that Ajinkya Rahane hit that were sight for sore eyes. But it was always going to be Australia's. My own view when the day started was that India had no more than 5 or 10% chance of winning it. Because as you saw with Rahane, you can try very hard, and one moment of a little lapse and you get out. And when you're chasing 444, those moments will come. And it took a moment of magic until that catch by Steve Smith. I can watch it 100 times.
And he dropped so many balls, or he has dropped so many catches behind the wicket when the ball comes straight at him. But if it's anywhere to his right or left and he has to pull off an acrobatic move, you can be guaranteed he's going to grab it. He's done it so many times in his career, especially in the last couple of years. But that was the way Scott Boland set Virat Kohli up, Harsha. That was a masterclass.
Umesh Yadav, the new batter then, here on strike against Nathan Lyon. He's pushing forward out towards point.
Who's your player of the match? Who's your player of the match? You go to Travis Head, you go to Steve Smith?
I think you have to give it to Travis Head just because of the way he set the test match up on day one when batting was difficult. He broke the game like he has so many times in his career.
Indeed he did. Indeed he did. And those 150, 160 runs were the difference between the two sides eventually.
The rate at which he scored as well as Lyon completes this over and beats the outside edge of Umesh, who's pushing forward trying to defend this one. Things starting to happen, and the Indians don't look like they're going to be able to last too long with the tail in motion as well. Harsha, you're going to leave us here. We're going to take a short break, and on the other side it'll be myself and Bharat with India 7 for 213.
On the outside, champagne toast followed by cucumber sandwiches my way, 23rd Psalm, then Red Roses. Further back, Devonshire 2, Eulogy and pre-planning. Champagne toast has taken the lead, kicks away. It's out in front, 200 metres to go. Tobin Brothers celebrating lives. Tobin Brothers celebrating lives flying.
Thanks, Brian. For the final weigh-in life, how would you like to be celebrated? Find out more at tobinbrothers.com.au. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
SEN Test cricket for Maccas. Here's to 30 years of McCafe. India then 7 down. Mitchell Starc to continue from the far end. He's into Bharat, who is guiding this one just backward of point. Takes the single. And there's going to be overthrows. Throw comes in from Cameron Green. And there's going to go all the way to the boundary there. He was throwing the ball to the non-strikers and looking for the run-out opportunity. Threw well wide in the end. And the runs won't really matter, but Mitchell Starc won't be happy with those going against his figures.
Yeah, KS Bharat wouldn't mind the 4 extra runs to his kitty. It's been tough going for him out there, but he's hung in there. Initially alongside Ajinkya Rahane, and we're down to Umesh Yadav. There's Shami and Siraj to come. I think this is not going to last for too long, so it'll be interesting to see if he farms the strike. For now, he was happy to give Umesh Yadav 5 balls of Mitchell Starc. If you're Starc, you're just targeting the stumps now, aren't you?
Yep, that's the one added bonus despite the overthrows. Starc to Umesh, who's having a little feel at this one outside the off stump. There's no foot movement. He was backing away a little bit towards the leg stump. And even these big quicks, when they're facing other big quicks from the other end, they're tentative.
Yeah, especially when you are someone without a batting technique like Umesh Yadav. He can hit some big sixes. There was a period where he hit more sixes than any other Indian batter in Test cricket a couple of years ago. But yeah, the front foot is not moving anywhere near the ball, nor is his body. And Mitchell Starc should have a clear view of the three stumps that he needs to hit.
Starc then will be targeting that full fast delivery, and he comes and he does go full and beats the outside edge once again of Umesh. He just needs to get one a little bit straighter there to Umesh. Might find the outside edge, might knock that off stump back.
They're all living dangerously. KS Bharat at the non-strikers and just threw his head back as that ball whisked past Umesh Yadav stumps again. I think he's ruining his decision to take the single of the first ball. And just walk down the pitch to have a word with Umesh Yadav. Look, a lot of Indian fans would think it's being a bit of a heartbreak, but let's face it, Australia lost this game for 80% of the match. They've got the big first inning score, and if not for rustiness on the morning of day 3, they would have finished with a bigger lead than they did. Regardless, it was they who set India that mighty target of 444, and for a while India was allowed to dare to dream just because of the way Virat Kohli was batting. But like we've seen this morning, it's not easy against his bowling attack.
It was never anything more than that, though, was it? A distant dream. Not much of a chance of possibility. Starc into Yadav again, this time defended to mid-on, and there is no run. It was listening to Adam Collins' introduction to the start of the day's play. It was like the prelude to a Bollywood film, wasn't it? Unlikely to happen. Very unlikely scenario.
Yeah.
Would be very dreamy if it did. A very outside chance of it happening, and then reality hits home, and we realise we're not in Bollywood. We're in South London, in the sunshine, and the Australians marching towards becoming world champions.
The classic Bollywood villains, aren't they, the Australians?
Starc then runs in once again round the wicket here to Umesh, who this time leaves well alone just outside the off stump.
Talking of Adam Collins, this Australian score, or Indian scorecard, this Australian bowling performance gives me a quick chance to do my Adam impression. They've gone bang, bang.
Yeah, they've gone bang,
Three times. Wickets fallen at 41, then 92, 93, 179 on 2 occasions, 212 and 213.
Yeah, I mean, if Richie Beno had his marvellous Adam Collins as bang, bang.
Bang, bang. But the one thing he won't be saying today, which we have heard on trails for SEN cricket in the past, it's a movie script.
That is true.
Well, it was initially, but it's not anymore. In comes Starc to complete the over, and Yadav is defending this one back down the track. No run, end of another over. India 7 for 218.
McCafe is turning 30 this year. That's 3 decades of McCafe making the perfect coffee to go with your early mornings, sideline cheers, road trip stops, and long swigs squeezed into short breaks. So here's to 30 years of McCafe, coffee fit for an Aussie.
Stay on the ball while you're on the road. The SEN app is now available on Apple CarPlay, so you can keep up with all the big moments, expert commentary, and the latest news. When it happens in sport, SEN has you covered. Find the SEN app on Apple CarPlay.
With SEN Test cricket here, with McCafe celebrating 30 years of coffee fit for an Aussie. This first session brought to you by Drinkwise. Remember, if drinking, drink wise. Nathan Lyon will continue with this around the wicket line. He's going to be bowling here to KS Bharat. Slip and a short leg in place. In comes Lyon, and goes for the slog sweep there. Bharat all the way along the ground out towards deep mid-wicket. There is protection there. Green does the fielding. He's looking for 2. KS Bharat desperately wanted to. I don't think he wanted to expose Umesh to Nathan Lyon, because Umesh only knows one way really against the spinners.
Yeah, that's right. And
go
KS
big
Bharat,
or go home.
Yep, and KS Bharat has done it again. He's given the Australian bowlers 5 balls to get rid of Umesh Yadav. Played the slog sweep. Initially, if you look at the replay, he wasn't looking for the single.
Lyon into Yadav, who defends one a little bit uppishly into the leg side. No run.
Umesh Yadav, the senior figure in the Indian team, said, how dare you decide whether I should be on strike or not. He just charged down the pitch, and now he survived 1 ball, 4 more to go.
Lyon then Runs in, delivers, floats one up, tempts Umesh, who drives, but can't beat the diving Pat Cummins there at mid-off.
I've more Test sixes than Virat Kohli, don't you know?
There you go. You might add to it, especially with Nathan Lyon bowling to him. Usman Khawaja at long on and Cameron Green at deep mid-wicket are waiting for him.
They'll be in the game. Lyon goes outside the off stump. A thickish outside edge. It's running away down towards third man. Vacant area down there. They'll get at least a couple. Or will they? No. They could have potentially even run 3 there, Bharat. They settle for the single. There's 3 deliveries still remaining in the over, crucially. I think KS Bharat's thinking, I need to face all of Nathan Lyon here.
Yeah, possibly get a single of the 5th or 6th ball. Pat Cummins just in conversation with Nathan Lyon. Another man goes back to long leg, and Cameron Green moves around to a more deep mid-wicket. KS Bharat, like I said, did slog sweep Nathan Lyon for a couple of 6s on that India tour. Backs himself to do that.
Lyon once more fires one in a little bit shorter this time. It's punched off the back foot by Bharat into the leg side, and there is no run. Known as Shrikar Bharat, S. Bharat.
S. Bharat.
It's you, isn't it?
It is.
It's your dream growing up. S. Bharat turning out for India in a test match here at the Oval, World Test Championship final.
Yeah, well, I've now been on air for all 5 of his tests. The question is, how many more does he have left?
Hasn't really fired with the bat at all in his short career so far. He's pushing at this one out towards point. Now is looking for the single. Can't get it. Lyon completes the over. Umesh Yadav will be on strike for the start of another one from Mitchell Starc. This is SEN Test cricket for McCafe, celebrating 30 years of coffee fit for an Aussie. And on the Beaumont Tiles scoreboard, Australia just 3 wickets away now. India 7 for 220.
Hi, I'm Bharat Sundaresan. The Henley sale event is on now, but must end soon. You'll enjoy savings on every home where luxuries are standard. Henley, backed by a $7 billion parent company. Build on something solid. Visit henley.com.au today.
They're back. Spicy Chicken McNuggets with a crispy, mouth-wateringly spicy coating. Get them before they're gone. Again. Order Spicy Chicken McNuggets at Macca's today. Available for a limited time.
Pat Cummins and Mitchell Starc in conversation about what the plan should be here to Umesh Yadav. You'd think full, fast and straight would be the ideal way to go, the way he's backing away towards the leg side. Then facing up here. Australia expectant as Starc runs in, delivers a full one, and the other punches that nicely off the front foot out towards the field of their extra cover. Marnus Labuschagne. Sun poking its head out once again here in South London. Got a little bit grey and muggy. Still very, very warm indeed today. Even for a South Australian from Mumbai. This is it's pretty warm weather here today. You've got the shorts on.
Indeed, it's warm, and it's gonna get warmer. At this point, it looks like we will have the afternoon free, unless Umesh Yadav can do something special and hang around for a while.
Starc runs in, delivers again. It's short, and Carey taken an edge there. He has. It might have been a glove. Through to Alex Carey. Brilliant take. High up to his left. Starc takes another. Didn't know too much about that, Umesh Yadav. Didn't go for the full-blooded hook. Just had a little prod at it. And India now just 2 wickets away from facing a big, big defeat. Australia on the verge of becoming world champions. India 8 for 220.
Yeah, KS Bharat just stood at the non-striker's end with his head down. A brilliant take from Alex Carey. Yeah, well, always talk of his past as a footy player of renown. Yes, it did catch his glove. Umesh Yadav had no idea. Bouncer from around the wicket. Mitchell Starc rearing up at him. It was just a matter of time. KS Bharat, not very good game awareness from the wicketkeeper. Just kept exposing Umesh Yadav to Mitchell Starc. It was never going to take too long. Well, in walks Mohammad Shami. I asked him yesterday if he dreamt of hitting the winning runs for India today. He said, yes, I want to. I believe I'll be the one hitting the winning runs. Oh, we'll be in store for something extremely special if that were to come through. But for now, he's walked out to bat.
Well, he might need to score 120 himself before he gets a chance to do anything like that, and hope that KS Bharat does something similar from the other end. Almost 0% chance of that happening at the moment. Australia 2 wickets away now. And they will be looking to potentially even finish this in the next 10 minutes before lunch. What are the rules, Mr. Umpire? If they take another wicket here, can they carry on and extend that?
Of course they can.
First session.
Yeah. And, you can get an extra half hour and finish the game off. And at this stage, you wonder if you'll even need the extra half hour. Still 11 minutes to go, like you said. Mohammad Shami, Mitchell Starc is fired up. Generally doesn't take too long to clean up the tail.
Starc then runs in, delivers, and this is short of a length delivery, well defended by Mohammad Shami. Back down the pitch. Won't see too many defensive shots from Mohammad Shami before he gets drawn into the temptation as well. So Bharat, you've received a message from your wife into the SEN studios. Want to read it out for us?
It's all yours, Nikesh.
Bring milk home.
After this delivery. After this delivery.
Yeah, I know.
It's a very cute message, to be honest. Sent in by our studio team as Starc is in. This is short, and it's uppercut by Mohammad Shami. A couple of bounces away to the deep third-man boundary for 4. Well, only a few more of those needed, Bharat, and Indians might start believing at least that they can survive this session, the rest of it anyway.
Okay, at least they can have lunch at the Oval, but yeah, I mean, he's going to have some fun, isn't he, Mohammad Shami?
India, halfway there.
Halfway there.
So, Bharat, your wife. Hello, Bharat. The pups have been listening to you intently. Your 2 dogs, of course. They've been busy rescuing possums, especially Alfie. All Olivia cares about is the butter that's being added to her meals. We miss you and hope to see you soon. Isha, Alfred and Olivia. Oh, how sweet is that? Mitchell Starc into Shami again. This one's down the leg side. Good take from Alex Carey. And there is no run. Butter being added to the meals there.
Yeah, I'm not really fond of this, Isha, so if you are listening, you know, I'm more the disciplinarian at home with the dogs, if you can imagine that.
I can't, actually. I can't.
I mean, I try.
Do they like a bit of butter chicken now and then?
They do. The problem is then they don't go back to the kibble. It's going to be a problem once I go back. And it's my duty again to feed the dogs. That's all right. They can have a treat when I'm away.
Bit of extra cheese as well. Quite fond of that. Pooches. Start to complete the over. It's driven, it's edged, and it's just over the head of Cameron Green there, diving away in the gully. The last thing we need is another Cameron Green catch low down somewhere in that gully region. This wasn't low down, it was over his head. It was a good effort. Shami gets a single, he gets down the other end. And that is another over down for the Australians. Still 2 wickets required for victory. India 8 for 224.
Introducing the next level of shaving with Gillette Labs Razor with exfoliating bar. With one-stroke exfoliation, it clears a path on your skin before the blades for an effortless shave. Between May 25 and June 21, 2023, buy any Gillette product from Chemist Warehouse to get a next-level good feeling. 50 cents from every sale is donated to the Gotcha for Life Foundation to support men's mental health. Donation capped at $100,000. T's and C's apply. See gillette.com.au/terms-conditions for details. Chemist Warehouse, great savings every day.
SEN Test cricket for Maccas. Here's to 30 years of McCafe. Nathan Lyon then to continue here. It is KS Bharat on strike. They didn't take the single off the final ball of the previous over. He's in. Here to Bharat, who's pushing into a gap there into the offside for no run.
Now, most importantly, I miss you too, Isha, Olivia and Alfred.
Yes, you were a bit late on that, Bharat.
I just realised.
I was wondering when you were going to come in with that. Dogs first, Isha second.
Yeah.
You got your priorities set out on the table there. Dangerous to live that way, Bharat. In comes Lyon again. This is full. It's an attempted drive. It's a play and a miss, and a stumping chance here, which has been appealed for. Bharat maybe just dragging his back foot out of the crease for a moment. Alex Carey whips the bails off. Good glove work. And the umpires are just going to check this for a potential stumping. No real excitement from the Australians.
Yeah, lovely piece of bowling again from Nathan Lyon. He's bowled so well in the second innings. He's got the drift going, used the breeze. Pretty still today. Whatever breeze there is, he's used in lovely fashion and beat KS Bharat in the air. Got him to drive against the turn.
While we wait for this replay to come up on the screen, in fact, here we go. We'll talk you through this one. Beautiful delivery, drawing him into the drive. The back foot just maybe the toes lifted off the ground for a split second. We'll check the ultra edge first.
Yeah, flat line is the ball.
Flat line, no bat involved then.
Give me your best angle for the stumping.
Let's take a look at the side on for the stumping. So he did drag his foot quite a way forward, actually.
Keep it rolling through, please.
And has he dragged it back in time or just in time? I tell you what, that was a lot closer than both we thought and the Australians out there. And it was only Alex Carey who was particularly excited about that, and even then was set in his position just to face the next delivery, even when it was sent upstairs. A lot closer than we thought it might be, but confirmed as not out on the big screen. A few muted cheers go up around the stadium. Lyon tries once more, and this time Bharat is well forward and defending. We were talking about butter chicken there. The fellow to our right looks like he has got a portion of butter chicken and rice. We're getting a lovely waft, aren't we? A lovely smell coming through.
I just checked downstairs. There's butter chicken for us as well. There you go. Phil Long's already excited.
Final day treat. In comes Lyon, and again Bharat is well forward and defending. Big long stride in.
I can confirm now, life does not get any better, does it? Sunday at the cricket, butter chicken on the menu.
Well, it depends how good the butter chicken is, you see. They've had a few curries, inverted commas, over the last couple of days, and been anything but authentic, shall we say.
Fair enough. Get better once we get to Birmingham, though.
Oh, indeed. Lyon is in, and this is a big slog sweep from KS Bharat, and it's been top edged into the air and straight to Nathan Lyon. I almost lost it there for a second. Bharat dismissed. Lyon takes another. Simple catch in the end, just straight up into the air. Had enough time to steady himself. And the Australians celebrating. More Indians leaving for the exits now, particularly with their last recognised batter making his way off the pitch. They're 1 wicket away here. We're not going to get that butter chicken anytime soon. We're going to hang around here for a result here. Australia 1 wicket away from becoming world champions.
Yeah,
9 for 224.
KS Bharat just threw it away in the end. Was getting no support from his colleagues at the other end. Looked solid in his 23, for his 23. But Nathan Lyon again, beating him in the air. He does back himself with the slog sweep against Lyon. This time too good. He just played the shot, turned around, walked away, didn't even wait to see if Nathan Lyon got under it, and took what was pretty straightforward catch. It's happening in a hurry. Australia just 1 wicket away from becoming World Test champions, and India 1 wicket away from losing their second straight World Test Championship final.
Hello, Baz. Yes, that's quite right. We did say at the start it could be one of those days where India take it deep, or men around the bat, or Australia could have the mace by lunch. Well, it feels like the latter is most likely. Lunch will surely be extended from here, 3 minutes away from the scheduled breather, but 9 down, Siraj walking out. It's been a matter of time. Nathan Lyon, 3 for 41, 2 of those this morning. In outfield, 1 ball to come for Lyon. 3 catching men around the bat. Lyon will stay around the wicket from our Vauxhall end. Siraj's first ball. Here, Lyon goes back and defends. On the Beaumont scoreboard, Beaumont Tiles, huge sale, India, 9 for 224. Siraj yet to score, Shami on 4.
I like to call it a passion. I can be sitting relaxing. I'm spending this holiday locked in. Back then, wasn't worried about me, though. In the gym, trying to work on my free throw. What's poppin'? Brand new whip, just hopped in.
The new Kia Seltos. That's what's poppin'. And yeah, it's got options. The new Kia Seltos. The word is out.
Brand new whip, just hopped in.
Kia. Movement that inspires.
SEN Test Cricket for Maccas. Here's the 30 years of the McCafe. Adam Collins, Bharat, Sundaresan, Phil Long, taking you through to what will almost certainly be the end of the World Test Championship final here at the Kia Oval. The leading run scorer today was Virat Kohli for DSE Transport, delivering service excellence for more than 25 years. DSE Transport out for 49. Top scoring in this second innings for India. Rughani out for 46. The two overnight men both look likely, but out to Boland and Stark respectively. Boland 2 wickets in 3 balls to get the party started. So Shami on strike, 2 back on the offside. Stark on the way, a couple of slips. Delivers here, back to the bowler. It goes over his head for 4. Mohammad Shami only knows how to play one way. Gets himself a boundary here, moves to 8. India 9 for 228.
Yeah, much to the amusement of some of the Australian fielders. He's going to have fun. Usman Khawaja has been pushed back to a fly slip. You can see right under us. Here at the Vauxhall end. Full ball from Stark. Mohammad Shami is going to swing for the fences. Could well be his last appearance on English soil. India don't come back here for at least another couple of years. Why not?
Stark, can he finish it here? On the way to Shami, delivers round the wicket. Shami takes it on. 2 fours in a row. Too good for Boland at fine leg. Shami's enjoying himself. Pat Cummins doesn't mind it. They want him swinging. 2 men out on the leg side, a deep backward square and fine leg. A fly slip and a deep backward point. That's Nathan Lyon signing autographs to our right. Fair enough too. The Indian fans love Nathan Lyon.
That's one thing about the Indian cricket fans. They came here with a lot of hope and belief, but now that they realize the end is nigh, making sure they make the most of it. They paid a lot for the tickets. Please get a few autographs before they leave.
So Stark round the wicket to Shami. Back-to-back boundaries. 1 wicket to get. Delivers here. Shami takes it on again. Down the leg side. Shout for caught behind. And it's given. Shami's going to review it. So there'll be the anti-climax as we go to the third umpire for Imar Insurance, the tradies mate. Call 1-3 Imar. Shami got inside the line. Carey to his left. Richard Kettleborough the decision to make.
Does Richard Kettleborough get to have the final say on this test match? What a test match it has been. Cramped him down the leg side again, Mitchell Stark. Short ball.
Ooh, looks like glove to me.
Yeah.
First impression is it's glove.
I mean, no surprises. You expected Mohammad Shami to go for the review.
Thank you.
And here we go.
Keep it rolling through, please. Keep it rolling through.
It looks like there's a flat line until the thigh pad. So Shami, who reviewed straight away, is reprieved, or he will be momentarily. The scoreboard will revert from India all out 232 to India 9 for 232, and Stark will have to go back to his mark. And the Indian crowd are getting quite excited beneath us here, even though their mission, it's all but done here, still 212 rather away, which they won't be getting. So Shami back to where he started. Sun shining. Stark at the top of his mark. Chanting his name. They want a bit more entertainment, the Indian fans. Stark wants to finish it. Left arm round, passes umpire Gaffney, gets to the crease here, and he plays into the onside for 1. Fun and games. 9 for 233, Baz.
Yeah, I wonder if quietly the Australians don't mind that was given not out on the DRS. Like you said, it would have been an anticlimactic moment. They wouldn't have minded finishing the game off and walking off the field as World Test champions already.
We have had a few of those, haven't we? In Sri Lanka last year, we had that brilliant win on the final day with Prabhat Jayasuriya. That was one on a DRS at the end. It didn't feel quite the same as it should have, but they'll get the chance to do it in slightly more emphatic style if they can knock over Siraj here. 2 balls, 2 opportunities. And Siraj, bless him, can't bat.
He'll do what Shami's been doing. He'll try to make room and swing.
Field remains the same. 4 back behind square. 3 in the cordon. Stark, pavilion end, gets to the crease and bowls, and Shami make that Siraj rather is beaten outside the off stump. So Kawaja at deep third or fly slip. Line deep backward square. Deep backward point. Boland fine leg. And Travis Head deep backward square in front of the gasometer.
Mitchell Starc won't get a better opportunity to finish off a world final than this. He's got one ball to go. He has 3 stumps to aim at.
Now, technically, it should be lunch after this ball, but it won't be. This over started at 29 past 12, but they'll surely extend in a moment from now. Unless Starc can finish it. 1 ball left in his over, his 14th. He's picked up a couple of wickets this morning. Starc up to Siraj here. 1 wicket to get. He's turned into the onside. Behind square for 1. Siraj will retain the strike. 9 for 235 on the Beaumont scoreboard. Siraj off the mark with the single. Shami on 13.
Hey, it's Candy here. As a presenter in the world of sport, I see many powerful performances. Now, thanks to Azito, we're helping power your next DIY project. Did you know Azito's 18-volt range is powered by Einhell? German-designed quality, driving, innovation and performance. So you can power over 85 cordless tool and garden products with the same battery. Azito, powering DIYers all day, every day. Exclusively available at Bunnings Warehouse.
Our coverage for Maccas. Here's the 30 years of the McCafe. Now leading wicket taker this morning, Nathan Lyon, 3 for 41. That's for DSC Transport, delivering service excellence for more than 25 years. Lyon a chance to finish it off. 3 catching men around Siraj. Away from us, Vauxhall end. Siraj defends. Into the offside where there isn't a silly point.
What are the odds, Adam? I just saw Pat Cummins have a little chat with Mitchell Starc at the end of the last over. If Nathan Lyon isn't able to finish the job in this over, I have a sneaky little feeling that Pat Cummins is going to bring himself on. He's finished off so many important test matches since he became captain, don't forget.
He did do it at Lahore last year. Lyon around the wicket, bowls to Siraj, who's in behind it safely. Ever so competent with the forward press. Yes, we saw Cummins bring himself back in Lahore when he wasn't bowling and knocked Naseem Shah stumps everywhere, didn't he? First ball with a spell, and that was that.
Took the last wicket in Hobart to finish off that Ashes campaign.
Line around the wicket, reverse sweep from Siraj, and he doesn't beat backward point. Scott Boland takes the catch to secures the World Test Championship final for Australia. The culmination of 2 years hard work. From Lahore to Gaul to Indore, now back to London, losing just 3 test matches through that stretch. A side that's gone to the next level under Pat Cummins, and a legacy-defining trip couldn't have started any better. Mission accomplished. World Test champions, Australia victorious by 209 runs.
The culmination of a wonderful chapter for Australian cricket and the coronation of the Pat Cummins era. Remember, it was at the start of this World Test Championship cycle that he was thrust into the captaincy role when he least expected it. Won Australia the Ashes, won Australia famous series in Pakistan, and now he's won them their first ever World Test Championship. That's what Australia do. They win world titles. They might take their time, but they finally get the job done.
And they get the base. Handed out to the World Test champion Victor. New Zealand the first time around, Australia now. India defeated in both finals today by 209 runs. Their target of 444. There was so much scoreboard pressure after they lost Kohli and Jadeja in the space of 3 Scott Boland deliveries. They were on a hiding to nothing. Then Lyon and Starc went to work, and, well, the rest is history. Phil Long.
We've mentioned it a couple of times over the last few days. The scoreboard to our right there with the 4 scores at the bottom. That 469 is the real outlier, isn't it? It was a 250, 300 wicket.
And you would just think, as a result, the player of the match award goes to Travis Head. What an innings that was when you look back to how he broke the game, the conditions. 3 for 76 Australia at a dangerous position with the ball doing all sorts. He just makes one of the greatest hundreds you'll ever see in a big match.
Yeah, the foundation on day one, going to stumps at 3 for 327. You're spot on, Phil Long. That was the difference. The partnership, the 285 between Stephen Smith and Travis Head. From there, the Australian bowlers. It was fitting that Scott Boland takes the catch to finish the job, given the work that he did earlier today. And indeed, the work he did on afternoon number 2, picking up a couple of wickets and giving Australia that belief they could roll India cheaply in the first innings. And so they did. And really, despite the hope that India came here with this morning, Australia bossed most of this test match.
The margin of victory really reflects how far ahead Australia have been for large periods of this test match, pretty much after the first session.
We're not far away from the presentation. We're going to take a break and clear some commitments. Our coverage is for Maccas. Here's the 30 years of the McCafe. Australia, they'll hold up the mace in a couple of minutes. They've won here at the Oval by 209 runs. Line around the wicket, reverse sweep from Siraj, and he doesn't beat backward point. Scott Boland takes the catch to secures the World Test Championship final for Australia. The culmination of 2 years hard work. From Lahore to Gaul to indoor, now back to London, losing just 3 test matches through that stretch. A side that's gone to the next level under Pat Cummins, and a legacy-defining trip couldn't have started any better. Mission accomplished. World Test champions, Australia victorious by 209 runs. A collapse of 7 for 70 for India this morning in 24.5 overs, including the last 5 wickets falling for 22 runs. India all out in their second innings for 234 in 63.5 overs. Top scoring was Virat Kohli with 49. The first wicket to fall today to Scott Boland. Ajinkya Rahane made 46. Rohit Sharma made 43 yesterday. For Australia, Nathan Lyon finishes with 4 for 41, not far away from 500 test wickets now. 3 for 46 for Boland. 1 yesterday, controversially caught in the gully, but 2 this morning in 3 balls. Kohli followed by Jadeja. Mitchell Starc picked up a couple in his 14 overs, and Pat Cummins 1 yesterday as well. 1 for 55 for the skipper. Cameron Green, the only other bowler used, none for 13 from his 5. We're not far away from the presentation. Adam Collins with you, Nikesh Rughani with me. From an Indian perspective, they'll be ruining another opportunity missed in the final. They've been in it twice and they've missed out on both occasions.
Absolutely, yes. It just goes to show that they've kind of got here both times by that home dominance, that the home record is so fantastic. They come straight off the back of the IPL both the times as well, and I think that is something that may need to be looked at. Look, this is the window. This is when the World Test Championship will be played. Certainly in the next Test cycle, it'll be at Lord's. It'll be at a similar time of year. The players will be coming off T20 cricket straight into Test cricket. Do they need more preparation? Do they need to manage these Test players better, these all-format players a little bit better as well? Those will be the big question marks, because, look, they look like they came into the game a little bit undercooked, particularly their bowling on day one. The conditions suited them. They won the toss. It was all set up. There was cloud cover. It was a little bit misty, a little bit cold on that first morning. The ball was doing a little bit. They were far too short with their lengths. They carried on with those shorter lengths through that day as well. When the conditions actually were a little bit better for batting and into late day 2 and early day 3, that's when they started finding their rhythm with the ball. But it was too late. Travis Head and Steve Smith had done the damage in that first innings, and that really was the difference. Travis Head and that knock, the pace at which he scored that 163, really taking the game away from India. They just allowed Australia to get way too many above par. 469 in these conditions with what the ball has been doing. It's been up and down, the odd one spitting, the odd one keeping low. There was swing early on. They just didn't bowl well enough.
Phil Long, what are you seeing in the numbers out of all of that?
Well, the other side of the coin, you're right. India did not bowl particularly well on that first day. 2 finals now, 4 innings. They've 4 completed innings. They've yet to make 300, and the only 2 50s they've achieved across both of those finals were in the first innings here. They've just not scored enough runs to win these games.
So we aren't far away from the presentation. Scott Boland's being interviewed on the ground. I might see if I can get this interview. Let's just bear with me for a moment here. It may work, it may not.
I've done some hard work, and it's nice to play in international cricket and get some wickets. Looking forward to first Ashes, Basil? Yeah, it should be good next Friday, so we'll start thinking, get our heads around what that looks like. But yeah, we're looking forward to it. Thank you.
So Scott Boland, who picked up the 2 big wickets, the 2 match winners really. Kohli caught it second slip. Steve Smith watching it back on our screen here for tyre power. The way he dives away to his right. Seems with him, the harder the catch, the more likely he is to take it. Then a Jaffa to Jadeja. I mean, I don't know what he was meant to do there. Angling in round the wicket towards the off stump, straightened up, bit of movement, hits the edge, and Carey makes no mistake as well. Scott Boland, his astonishing Test career, 33 wickets at better than 15. It felt like a fairy tale at the MCG a couple of years ago, Nick, but now this deep into his career, he's essential. He'll play, in all probability, all 6 tests over the next 2 months.
Yep, and the fairy tale continues really at his age, a couple of years ago, to think he would be playing in a World Test Championship final for Australia and being one of their match winners as well. Just absolutely astonishing. Your script at the start of the match, Adam, your intro to this particular final day of this test match, it was all set up to be that Bollywood movie script, wasn't it? The sort of dream reality of maybe Kohli finishing it off for India. Well, from an Australian point of view, and Scott Boland certainly is that Bollywood dream, isn't he? He is that Bollywood script. The way he's come into the side, the way he's managed to keep his place. He's just won a World Test Championship for his side, and he'll be getting a gold medal around his neck before too long.
Might try and grab Steve Smith as well. Bear with me again just for a sec. Work out which microphone is just coming through. What about that one?
India have also been exceptional over the last 2 years, so I think that's a fitting too to be in this game. And I think the way we played this week's been outstanding. That first day we got ourselves into a really nice position. Trav obviously played exceptionally well, and I sat up the other end and watched him do his work and sort of played second fiddle. And from that first day we sort of controlled the game, I suppose. There were probably glimpses where we allowed them back in with a few unforced errors, I suppose, but all throughout we felt like we were in reasonable control.
Sometimes it can take a special catch to dismiss a special player. Virat Kohli this morning was really key for India. Talk us through that catch of the slips.
Yeah, we know how good Virat is. He's an exceptional player, and particularly chasing totals, we know he's very dangerous. So I thought that spell this morning from Scott Boland was outstanding. He beat the bat a couple of times. He was hitting in great areas, and to fortunately take the edge and the catch to sit safely in the hands was a nice one. We knew we needed that wicket, and then to get Jadeja as well in the same over was a huge moment. He's also scored a lot of runs against us recently, so set us up for the morning, and then things happened pretty quickly from there.
It did. Congratulations, Smith. Well done, Steve. Well done.
Thank you.
So Stephen Smith there talking to Ali Mitchell for ICC TV. Thanks to them for that. Phil, still with us?
Yeah, just to complete the Scott Boland story, you mentioned a film script. He's bowled 7 times in the second innings of test matches. He's taken 22 wickets at 8.18. That script gets thrown out the window, doesn't it? It's so unbelievable.
It is indeed. I mean, just looking at his career average as well, what is it down to now? It's
15 or 14 and a half or something ridiculous.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. But when we think about it, it's actually crept up a little bit, hasn't it, in recent times? Shows you how well he started his career with that fairy tale at the MCG as well. And just absolutely brilliant to see the big booming smile on his face and him being so involved in that victory and picking up those 2 crucial wickets, really, which broke the back of any potential Indian dream that they had this morning. One thing I will say is, though, that the Indian fans, it's not quite been a full house here at the Oval for day 5. Maybe 1 or 2 were just seeing how it went for the first session before making their way to the ground. Most of them have stuck around, which is really good to see. And I think it has really been the Indian fans who, from an atmosphere point of view, from a trying to sell Test cricket point of view, as well as the cricket we've seen out there, it's been all about these Indian fans and the way they've got into the spirit of Test cricket, because we've seen those certain passages in play through the last couple of days where they've been up on their feet. It's been like the Colosseum in here. They've been baying for blood when the likes of Mohammad Siraj have been charging into bowl. When Virat Kohli got himself going late last night, and even first thing this morning as well, there was that real sense of expectation. Fabulous atmosphere created by all of these supporters. There are a fair few Australians in as well, and it has to be said. I saw quite a few in Leicester Square last night and various tour parties as well. So they've been here in their numbers as well, but vastly outnumbered by the Indians, and overall a fantastic atmosphere for these 2 sides on a neutral ground thousands of miles from their homelands, and they've managed to create an absolutely brilliant atmosphere.
Yeah, I completely agree with you that the Indian fans have been such a big part of the week here, especially to our right in the stand beneath us. They've been so loud. That's the best part of the ground to watch from here at the Oval, and it's been a real celebration of Test cricket, and it needed to be. Test cricket is in some parts of the world under siege. The World Test Championship is by no means locked and loaded forever. It's in for 2 more cycles, so 2 more 2-year cycles, but after that it's anybody's guess with the direction of travel with franchise cricket and the IPL owners and the proliferation of leagues that are being owned by the same handful of people, and the pressure that will put scheduling and Test cricket. That's all part of the conversation in a way now that it wasn't probably 2 years ago. So we needed a celebration. We spoke about it before playing, Nikesh, about today, the overnight, how exciting it was in London last night, knowing that Kohli was batting as well as he did. Well, it doesn't come to fruition. They lose 7 for 70 today to be all out in the second innings for 234. But boy, the 5 days we've had here reinforces to anybody who needs convincing that Test match cricket is alive and well.
Yeah, there's no other sport in the world that can do that. The overnight, like you talked about earlier on, it's played over 5 days. We've talked about it being a reflection of life. You have your ups, your downs. Sometimes you're the star of the show. You can do no wrong. Sometimes you feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. And within the space of an hour, that can change. And it's just really the ebbs and the flows and the building up to the drama on the final day. There was no real drama on this final day, but there was the potential. And that is what we always want. We can't ask for any more than that. It was all set up to be an absolute classic. Sometimes it doesn't quite play out like that. Sometimes it does. We have those scripts like Headingley 2019, the Ashes Test match. You look back to 2005, the 2001 series played between these two. There's been so many examples over the years involving some of these top sides and all that late drama that you get in Test cricket. It cannot be replicated across any other sport, let alone other forms of cricket. You just do not have that same sense of anticipation. And like I mentioned in Leicester Square last night, there were groups of Indian fans, there were groups of Australian fans, all on tour, all travelled thousands of miles to be here for this particular match. And the camaraderie and the friendly banter between those two sets of fans as well, I don't think that is replicated among many other sports.
But you can see it amongst the players at the moment. Before the presentation, they're mingling together. Shardul Thakur talking to Marnus Labuschagne and Usman Khawaja. There's Kohli. He's having a chat to Stephen Smith with David Warner by the looks of things. Yeah, again, these guys have played so much cricket, not only in the IPL with each other, but obviously in Test cricket, one-day international cricket, T20 international cricket. They've kind of done it all. You spoke, Nikesh, about the generational split that both sides had so many players who have made their debuts between 2010 and 2013 playing this week at the Oval. That's kind of why it's in some part legacy defining for both sides. But the fact that these days any hostility between them on the field is all resolved off it, and that's got to be a good thing for world cricket.
It is, yeah, because you go back to sort of pre-2010 and pre-IPL, really, pre-2008. We talk about the 2008 series between these two, which, you know, not many people want to remember that. Harsha was saying on air as well yesterday, it's one of the very few moments of his career that he'd rather just put to one side and not think too much about. Just the ill blood, the bad blood between the two sides, the tension that there was, and it actually boiled over into something quite ugly in some regards. But as you say, a lot of these guys play against each other in tournaments like the IPL. They play so much international cricket against each other as well. And there's that great respect. You talked about Kohli and Steve Smith, two absolute greats of the game across formats.
And you can see they're talking about batting, by the way. I can see them shadow batting at each other.
It never ends, does it?
Exactly.
It never ends.
And Warner's the other one, right? Like Warner is on his final lap around the sun when it comes to being an international player, Test cricketer especially. He's already foreshadowed his plans there. I mean, think about the rivalry he has enjoyed with India, but playing in every single IPL other than the one he was suspended for. It's an important part of the Australian story in recent years, and it's fitting that these sides duked it out over 5 enthralling days here in London. We're just waiting still for the presentation. I can spy Greg Barclay, the chair of the ICC, on stage with Jeff Allardyce, the chief executive of the ICC, and a couple of members of the sponsorship team. So we can't be far away. Between them, there's the mace. I hadn't seen that yet. So we got the mace that used to be given to the number one ranked Test side in the world. Australia, of course, have been able to hold that up on a number of occasions before. We kicked into the World Test Championship in 2019, but haven't had it since. It's been in New Zealand safekeeping since Southampton in the June of 2021. But they won't have to split it. That was a little bit of a fear of ours in the back of our mind. How will they actually manage the splitting of such a mace? But not to be, because, yes, a draw today was never really in the offing after Scott Boland picked up 2 wickets in 3 overs, just after half an hour's play, absorbing cricket, 15 runs scored in that first 30 minutes. But those 2 wickets opened up India, and the collapse of 5 for 22, that was that. So we're not an awfully long way away from TV giving us the presentation. Still got Phil Long with us with his hand up.
I think the point you make there is the fantastic thing is we have had a proper game of Test cricket to win this tournament. 5 days. Well, it's not gone to the back end of day 5, but we're here on the 5th day. Both teams have batted twice under glorious London skies, and if you wanted an advertisement, if you wanted to sell Test cricket, you'd sell this game, wouldn't you?
You would, and it's the beauty of it as well, the interaction between the players out there at the moment, because you battle so hard for 5 days. You put everything into it, you leave everything out there on the field. Test cricket is hard work. It's hard work for us, just broadcasting, just talking about the game as well, isn't it? The long days that we have and things like that. Imagine playing Test cricket and the mental fatigue that you get, as well as the physicalities of it, and you put all that out there for 5 days. It all comes to an end. You shake hands, you give each other a hug, you go for a drink afterwards, and you just reminisce in the great stories of this match and series previous as well.
And Australia won't have much time anyway, to regroup. The first test of the Ashes starts on Friday in Birmingham. It just feels jarring in a way that this is at the very start of such a massive series for this Australian side, who haven't won a series in England since 2001. 22 years ago, of course, they retained the Ashes 2-all series result 4 years ago in England. But yes, winning in England with this group of players that have been here so many times, thinking of Nathan Lyon, Stephen Smith, David Warner, Mitchell Starc, Josh Hazlewood, Usman Khawaja. Oh, here we go, the presentation, we're up. Just give us a moment to get the microphones right, and we'll throw to that. We might take this from television, actually. So as we wait for the presentation to kick in, we'll hear from both captains and the player of the match, who will almost certainly be Travis Head, standing by.
Wonderful contest. On behalf of the International Cricket Council, a special thank you to the fans who've been with us over the last 5 days, creating a wonderful atmosphere here in the ground. And we'd also like to thank our hosts, the England and Wales Cricket Board, the Oval, our broadcast and commercial partners, the volunteers, the match officials, and of course the players and staff of both teams. We'd now like to introduce our presentation party. Mr. Jeff Allardyce, ICC Chief Executive, Mr. Greg Barclay, ICC Chair, and Alison Mitchell, our presenter, who will conduct our interviews. Firstly, I would like to invite the match officials to collect their medals from Mr. Jeff Allardyce, led by our match referee, Sir Richie Richardson. Our on-field umpires, Richard Illingworth and Chris Gaffney. Our third umpire, Richard Kettleborough, and fourth umpire, Kuma Damasina. Now it's time to award the Player of the Match award. This was nominated by the TV commentators and again presented by Mr. Jeff Allardyce. There were some great notable performances. Steve Smith, century. Ajinkya Rahane, 89 and 46. Nathan Lyon with 4 for 41. And Mohammad Siraj with 4 for 108. But one innings changed the pace and the story of the match. A breathtaking 163 from just 174 balls, 25 fours and 1 6. The ICC World Test Championship Final Player of the Match, Travis Head.
This guy first, followed by all of them.
We now invite the runners-up India to the stage, led by Captain Rohit Sharma, to receive their runner-up medals from Mr. Jeff Allardyce.
Commiserations. I guess if you look back to the first day, the first innings, it's always going to be hard to come back from a first innings deficit like that.
Yeah, it was a tough one. I thought we started well with winning the toss, putting them to bat on those conditions. We bowled pretty well in the first session, and then we let ourselves a little bit down with how we bowled. But again, you got to give credit to the Australian batters, in particular Travis Head, came and played really well. along with Stephen Smith. And yeah, that just took us off guard a little bit, and then we knew it was always hard to come back, but we put up a good show. We fought till the end, but yeah, congratulations to Australia.
When you look back to that period when Smith and Head were batting together, is it possible to identify what things you could have done a little bit differently?
Yeah, I mean, we spoke of a lot of things. We spoke about bowling tighter lines. We tried some different stuff as well. But it didn't work out, and things like that can happen. You've got to stay because, obviously it's a 5-day game. You've got to stay in the game and try and keep working towards that. Sometimes it comes off really well, sometimes it doesn't. And it didn't come off well for us. But yeah, like I said, you've got to give credit to the Australians. They played well. High points in the match for you, though. Would that be Rughani, his return back into the side, how well he batted in that first innings in particular? Yeah, I thought it was a great fight back from both Rughani and Shardul. After 5 down for 150, we need somebody to stand up. And, Shardul and Rughani put up a good partnership there, kept us in the game. And then in the second innings as well, we bowled pretty well from what the mistakes we made in the first innings. We bowled well in the second innings. And then, again, we failed with the bat. We didn't apply ourselves. It was a good pitch to bat on all 5 days. The pitch behaved pretty well. So, yeah, we didn't capitalize with the bat. It is 2 finals for you now, though. What do you feel this as a match, as an occasion, does for the game of Test cricket? No, absolutely. I mean, look, we've worked really hard for all those 4 years. Playing 2 finals is honestly a good achievement for us. But yeah, we would like to go a mile ahead of that as well. But unfortunately, the Test Championship final obviously comes in 2 years. So you cannot take the credit away from what we've done in those 2 years to come here and to be at the finals here. It was a great effort from the entire unit. A lot of players took part in those finals, those Test series as well. So yeah, I mean, it's been unfortunate that we couldn't, go on and win the finals, but we'll keep our heads high and we'll fight for the next championship as well. And it's always the way you've been so well supported by the Indian fans in this ground, haven't you? Yeah, it's been absolutely brilliant. All 5 days, I'm sure different people have come to the stadium. They've gotten behind the team really well. On behalf of the team, the entire management, I would like to thank each one of them to come out and support us. They were cheering for every run, every ball that we bowled, every wicket that we were taking, which doesn't usually happen, but the crowd at Oval was fantastic. Commiserations this time, but good luck for the coming months. Thank you.
And now, can I invite the winners, Australia, to come up to the stage to receive their medals from Mr. Greg Barclay, led by winning captain, Pat Cummins.
Many congratulations. If you think back to day 1 of this match, overcast skies, put in not a bad toss to lose.
Yeah, we made the most of it. We were certainly going to have a bowl, but the way Travis and Smithy put on that partnership gave us all a little bit of comfort after a pretty nervy morning.
We've seen Steve Smith score countless hundreds. What about Travis Head, the way he scored those runs, not just how many he scored?
Yeah, he's been brilliant throughout this whole campaign. Started with the Ashes a couple of years ago. He just puts the pressure right back on the bowlers, and suddenly you're thinking about how to contain runs rather than trying to take wickets. He was fantastic. Again, we left day 1 feeling like we were on top of the game, mainly down to those 2 guys.
Were there periods in this game where you thought, hang on, this could start to pull away in the opposite direction at any point?
Maybe not so much pull away, but I think at times, we weren't at our slickest. But when it counted, we played really well. I thought, a couple of days ago we could have really driven the game home, but didn't have our best day and let India a little bit closer back in. But for the most part, felt like we were in control.
What about your bowling units? We saw Nathan Lyon come in at the end, but Scott Boland opening things up for you today.
Yeah, fantastic. yeah, Scotty Boland just, he's now my favourite player. He always has been, but he just continues to be my favourite. Everyone just did their role really well. Again, coming off a bit of a break for most of us. When it counted, everyone kind of switched on and got a key breakthrough.
We've obviously got a lot of Test match cricket to come in an Ashes series. Do you feel that everyone has had the workout that they need ahead of that as well, given this is such a high-stakes match?
Yeah, for sure. We came into this, everyone had slightly different preparation, but as you saw out there, everyone, was switched on, played really well, and we'll savour this for a few days and then before we turn our attention.
And I'll ask a similar question to you about Test cricket and what this match as an occasion you feel does for the game for this format.
Oh, it's huge. You ask anyone in our change room, this is our favourite format. We grew up watching Test cricket. We love it. It challenges you in more ways than any other format. And I think when you win, it's the format you get the most satisfaction with. So, absolutely, it's here to stay. We love playing it. And you saw the turnout this week. It's been fantastic.
It's been a really entertaining, competitive match of cricket. Pat, congratulations. Let you go and lift the mace with your team.
Great. Thank you. Ta.
Congratulations to the winners of the ICC World Test Championship Final 2023.
And the fireworks go off in front of the Bedser stand. A massive moment for Pat Cummins and his Chargers. Test cricket's here to stay, so said the Australian captain after a magnificent performance where they've been victorious by 209 runs to win the World Test Championship for the first time. We're going to take a break on SEN Test Cricket for Maccas on the other side of it. We'll wrap up our coverage and say goodbye from the Oval.
From McCafe, celebrating 30 years of coffee fit for an Aussie. The World Test Championship Final. Australia versus India on SEN Cricket.
The Cheese and Bacon McSpicy is back. Juicy chicken covered in a crispy, spicy coating, plus cheese and sizzling bacon. Order the Cheese and Bacon McSpicy at Macca's today. Available after 10:30am for a limited time.
Pick your favourite Kia. From the award-winning Kia Sportage to the street cred delivering Kia Seltos, or Kia's most powerful car ever, the all-electric EV6 GT. Book a test drive today to find your chosen one. Find out more at kia.com.au or drop into your nearest Kia dealer.
Kia, movement that inspires.
Beaumont Tiles is proudly sponsoring Test Cricket's World Cup final by hitting a 6 with their massive bathroomware catalogue sale. How's this? Vanities, basins, baths, loos, and even tapware are all slashed by up to 25% off. Plus, yes, plus, get up to 25% off all tiles. That's another 6 for Beaumont's. Head into one of over 110 stores around the country and save up to 25% on bathroomware and tiles. You'll be happy you chose Australia's #1, Beaumont Tiles.
This game's had it all today, folks, at the MCG, the home of football. This is Maker. Oh, deep on the left half forward flank, punt road end, he chips it onto App. Oh, App comes to Memory, turns on his left and bang! That's it! That's it! Memory has kicked his 100th goal of the season.
Thanks, Rex. Plan your celebration with the Tobin Brothers Funerals Memory Maker app. Find out more at tobinbrothers.com.au. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
For over 40 years, Kubota have worked the Australian landscape and faced its challenges. From first light to sunset, our agriculture and construction range works with power and versatility that you can rely on. From our mid-size to professional tractors, dependable mowers, zero tail swing or conventional excavators, and more. Kubota is building and shaping the future. Visit kubota.com.au or head to your nearest dealer to learn more.
So my boy Adam, he come home with all these bags of shopping. I said, what are you, millionaire? He says it was good bargain. Good bargain? Kogan Mobile prepaid plan is bargain. Unlimited talk, text, and 10 gigs of data for $15 a month. My boy wouldn't know bargain if it called him on phone and said, hello, I'm bargain. Talk about a bargain? Get one at koganmobile.com.au. T's and C's apply.
All right, I'm going to the bar. I'll be back in a tick.
Seriously? They just bounced the ball, mate. Wait till quarter time.
I won't be long this time.
Can I get mid-strength and...
Oh, come on. Hurry up. So many people. Oh, what? What did I miss? Who scored?
Spending more time queuing for drinks than watching the game? You won't miss a moment if you drink wise.
What type of Snap Fitness member are you?
I work well with progress and advice from fitness experts, which supports my fitness goals. I do tend to overtrain at times, so I appreciate extra guidance when needed.
I know my way around the gym already. I like to track my progress, be recognised, and train with a personal trainer to give me that extra push.
Ready to go to the next level? It all begins at snapfitness.com.au. Snap Fitness helps experienced members feel recognised and rewarded. Snap Fitness. Get moving.
Hi, I'm Bharat Sundaresan. The Henley sale event is on now, but must end soon. You'll enjoy savings on every home where luxuries are standard. Henley, backed by a $7 billion parent company. Build on something solid. Visit henley.com.au today.
For McCafe, celebrating 30 years of coffee fit for an Aussie. The World Test Championship Final. Australia versus India on SEN Cricket.
SEN Test Cricket for Maccas. Adam Collins, Nikesh, Rughani, Phil Long taking you through the final segment of our coverage from the Kia Oval. Australia winning the World Test Championship today on the final day by 209 runs. There were 4 wickets for Nathan Lyon, 3 for Scotty Boland, including 2 in 3 balls to get rid of Kohli and Jadeja, 2 for Mitchell Starc and 1 for the captain Cummins, who has just held up the mace. Nikesh, we heard from Pat at the press conference saying Test cricket here to stay, his most satisfying format when they get the job done like that, and you can see that this particular Australian team really truly love Test cricket.
They do. He was talking about the fact that he and his teammates grew up on Test cricket. It's the format that they enjoyed watching the most as kids and as young cricketers as well. It tests you in more ways than one. We talked about the ebbs and the flows and the fact that it's almost a reflection of life in many ways. So it's great to hear the likes of Pat Cummins being ambassadors for that, because we've seen it from the opposite side when Virat Kohli was leading this India side, as he was up until the start of this particular cycle of the World Test Championship as well. Always spoke so highly for Test cricket, beat the drum really more than anybody else in the world game about it. And now the likes of Pat Cummins speaking about it, leading a side like this, which is so successful in this particular format, and not just successful, but plays good, hard cricket as well. Not quite Bazball or whatever it might be done, but proper, real, authentic Test cricket, which is really what the format is all about and what we really want to see. And even with this Test match here, look, Australia dominated the entire match. There were just little opportunities where India could have crept back in as well. So a good, classic, old-school Test match. And I think those are the ones which are the most exciting and most endearing to cricket lovers already, and indeed bringing new people into the game. It's the excitement, it's the fifth day finishes and all that kind of stuff where all results are possible like they were coming into today. That's what we want to see, and that is the ultimate, the best advert really that you can get.
The ultimate test, as they call it.
The ultimate test, yes.
As well, and he said that, the Cummins noted everyone on the side made it count and got involved at some point. He described Scotty Boland as his favourite player. He's everybody's favourite player, Pat, don't worry about that. Rohit Sharma singled out Travis Head, player of the match, for his 163 from 174, and Steve Smith as the defining passage. He acknowledged how hard they fought, singling out Mohammad Siraj for the way he bowled, and the Indian fans as well for keeping the minute, but they fell short. To wrap up our coverage, we're going to go through a few bits and pieces from today. Our Macca's I'm Loving It moment of the day. Phil Long, I'll give you the honours on that front. The moment of the day, I think it's fairly obvious, but your thoughts?
I think it is fairly obvious, isn't it? Scotty Boland into Virat Kohli, one of the greats, edges to Steve Smith, another one of the greats. That really did feel like the game. It wasn't the game, that felt like the game.
We were quite lucky that from our broadcast position, where Kohli was facing up, we were sort of behind about fourth slip, so we got to see Smith dive in front of us, and it was like it was in slow motion. So a brilliant moment for Boland to break open India, specifically to knock over Kohli. When we arrived this morning, Nikesh, it was all about, 7 boundaries last night. He's purring. He's in sublime form, but only 5 runs in the first half an hour. It wasn't just about Boland. It was Cummins down the other end with the reverse swing. They did tie them up. They weren't doing anything wrong. but they couldn't get on the front foot early on.
And that was important, especially from the other end with Pat Cummins, who's been so expensive throughout this Test match by his usual high standards. He was going at over 4s in the first innings. He was going at over 4.5 coming into the day in the second innings as well. Really needed to find his rhythm. He had a change of ends as well. He came in from the Vauxhall end this morning. I think that really sort of helped his rhythm as well. We saw lots of no balls from him at the far end. Just wasn't quite getting into the groove, but hit his straps this morning and bowled well from the other end. And that really put the pressure on the Indians. That's the reason why Kohli probably played that type of shot, really, to try and break the shackles. It was away from his body. We've seen it happen a few times in the swinging conditions here in England in previous series when he has been playing against the likes of Jimmy Anderson. And again, just one of those deliveries. Looks fairly harmless outside the off stump. It's on a decent length. There's not much you can do with it apart from maybe leave it. But he just felt at that moment in time, because the runs had dried up, because scoring opportunities were so few and far between, he had to push at that one. He had to try and find some runs from somewhere just to change the shift in momentum. Was unable to do so. And what a catch that was. What a brilliant take by Steve Smith. We keep seeing the replay of it.
He's done it so many times before at second slip or first slip, well, mostly second, where he can go to his right. He's got that space to dive into. He's one of the best in the world at doing precisely that. The other part of the dismissal and the setup of Kohli was that he was bringing it back towards Kohli until that point. That was the only over where he went to his variation, beat him. They went upstairs. They asked for the review. Wasn't successful, but just building that pressure, then to get Kohli a couple of balls later, and the crowd was silenced. Even though Jadeja was walking in, always a fan favourite, the crowd was silenced nevertheless. And that might be the appropriate place to move into our Macca's delivery of the day. It's a new season for the McSpicy range at Macca's. Surely it's Jadeja.
I mean, it has to be.
The ball, again, the degree of difficulty. We saw Andrew Flintoff in the 2005 Ashes, especially to Adam Gilchrist, being able to go on the angle from around the wicket, wide on the crease, angling into Gilchrist and somehow always straightening it up off the seam. Boland has that club in the bag. Boland has that ability to move it both ways with these subtle variations, and that is where Jadeja was undone. He had to play it.
Yep, not many are able to do that in Test cricket in this modern day and age. It's such a difficult art. He's a tall man. He came from quite wide of the crease as well. That real big angle into the left-hander, and to get it to move away from him like that, absolute beauty. There's not much Jadeja could have done with it. And I suppose we're talking about delivery of the day. I mean, that entire period of play, those 3 deliveries, Kohli gone, Jadeja gone 2 balls later, to an absolute beauty as well, just absolute theatre. And that really was the game. If Kohli wasn't quite the game, his wicket, that silenced the crowd. Jadeja being dismissed 2 balls later, that really was the game. Everybody kind of gave up hope from an Indian perspective at that point.
And we shouldn't forget that Nathan Lyon comes on and plays a role again. On the final day, I mean, sometimes Lyon has been derided for his performances on days 5, but 4 for 41, one yesterday as soon as he was into the attack, the crucial captain, Rohit Sharma. And today, picking up Shikhar Bharat, Shardul Thakur, and the final wicket, Mohammad Siraj, reverse sweeping, appropriately caught at backward point by Scott Boland again. It was the icing on the cake. So the delivery of the day for Macca's. Order via Mick Delivery on the My Macca's app. We've reached a point where it's time to wrap up and say goodbye. Phil Longer, a parting thought as we do that.
Yeah, we're parting thought. Australia become the first team to win the 50-over World Cup, the 20-over World Cup, the World T20, and the World Test Championship. 3 players, member of all those teams: Steve Smith, David Warner, and Mitchell Starc.
3 all-timers. And Nikesh Rughani, has been brilliant having you with us throughout the course of the last week. India will lick their wounds and will move on to what they move on with their packed international schedule. And we've got 5 Ashes tests ahead of us. It's going to be a huge summer on SEN cricket.
It is indeed. Absolute pleasure to be here. And yes, India will be licking their wounds, but so much cricket to come that they'll be one eye on the World Cup later on this year, of course, as well.
Well, all that's left is for me to say thank you to our team in Melbourne, Paddo and Link and Mitch Scott, who's the head of cricket, so supportive behind the scenes. And after the break, Paul Sebastiani will be taking your calls on 1300 736 736 into the night from Kia. It's good night from the Oval. We have had a brilliant time over the last 5 days. Australia, World Test champions, mission accomplished. Bring on the Ashes.